Well, first and foremost, I want to welcome you to the Song of the Falling Star for Vaesen. This comes from the book A Wicked Secret, a Wicked Secret. My goodness, A Wicked Secret and Other Mysteries. This is the fourth of four mysteries in that book, and those of you that have been with me through all my Vaesen adventures, this will be the. I have done the other three already: the Wicked Secret, the Night Sow, and the Silver of the Sea. This is the last one from this book. This book, I think, has the best Vaesen adventures of the other adventure books that are available. I think every one of these is a gem, and some of the other books, half of them are really good, and the other half, I don't know that I would run them, but everyone finds their own treasure wherever they look. So I am excited to have completed this book with many of you, and for those of you that haven't been with me from the beginning, I think I'm probably Alex. You will have the option to, at some point, if you want to do the others, I will probably run them again. So before we get into the adventure, let's have our characters kind of introduce themselves to one another. This is a good chance to sort of see, and remind ourselves what each of our players can do, what our specialties are. So we could start with Astrid. So Astrid, tell us just a little bit about yourself. You probably don't want to tell us your dark secret, but maybe, just who are you, what do you do, how did you get the site?
Yes, hello. I'm Astrid. I am an academic, so love, research. I got the site by watching my partner be torn apart by a shadow.
Oh,
So
that's lovely.
very, yeah, super traumatic, so still haven't recovered from that.
Now,
Um,
was this Pace or Pete? Because that's really not that traumatic.
oh no, no, it was it was not one
Oh,
of the
good,
creepy.
good. And what what's something that the rest of us should know about Astrid? Is there anything that you know we should know about her? This is just probably not on your sheet. Strictly role playing. Any particular way you want to take Astrid tonight?
Ooh. I think that I would kind of like to play Astrid maybe like a little short-tempered, you
Oh,
know?
nice.
She's kind of up there in years. I feel like she doesn't have time for people's nonsense.
Well, looking
So,
at her
yeah.
picture, she looks like a lich. So I think she's quite old, but she
Yeah.
probably
Yeah,
hides it well. So
she's very old. So yeah.
excellent. How about Dagmar? What do we know about Dagmar?
So Dagmar comes and goes. She's probably 14, 15 years old. She thinks she's very grown up. There's no teenagers in that time, but so sometimes she acts grown up, and most of the time she's still a child. She has a terrier called Blix. Blix is lightning in Swedish, and that's because,
Oh,
as a typical terrier, he is very fast to lose his temper and very quick with his teeth. And she wears some hand-me-downs from Helena sometimes. So when she's looking a little bit more ladylike, she's got some dresses that she got from Helena. Um, she's still a bit of a street kid. She lost her whole family to a werewolf, so that's how she got the sight.
nice.
And she's an orphan, and she still runs the streets a lot, although she knows that she can come safely back to the castle on a really cold night or something like that. She knows there will be a place for her, but she still likes to be running the streets and meeting everybody and getting up to mischief. So
Awesome. Yeah, she definitely has a new family with everyone in the society.
she does.
Helena, what can you tell us about yourself?
Well, I'm Helena. I am a writer, and I'm currently doing research for a book on Vaesen, and I'm researching different types of Vaesen. I got the site when I heard a strange song coming from a seashell. Um, and I'm always taking notes or taking pictures of something that I think could be useful to my research.
Excellent. And how do you want to play Helena tonight? Any particular um, personality or anything, or are you just going to play her kind of as? I think many of us have already played Helena, So, in fact, I think you've played Helena before, Miss Pick. So,
Yes,
how
I have.
is there any particular way you want to play her tonight?
Well, I think she would just be very curious about everything and very into, finding a Vaesen or solving a mystery or anything like that.
Excellent. How about Johan?
Yeah, Johan is an officer. He got his sight from quite crazy moment when his ship was sunk by some sort of sea monster. I don't think he ever quite figured out what that was. And he's been with the Order ever since. He's quite a straight guy, I think. Straight edge. In fact, his motivation is to make his father proud. What a guy.
Nice. So he's probably, his shoes are always shined to a high gloss. His hair is always neatly trimmed. Probably, manicures himself. Just sort of very neat and orderly, as an officer should be.
Right, yeah, almost manically so.
Excellent. And any particular way you want to play Johan tonight? Because again, I think many of us have probably played Johan before.
Yeah, I think
have you played Johan before, or is this your first
Yeah,
time?
no, I think I've played him twice now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this will be the third time. Yeah, no, he's quite a heroic figure. He lost his ship. He's got something to prove.
Absolutely. And then last but not least, we just made this character last night for this game, Lord Montgomery. You have a little bit of a different background. You are not Swedish, so tell us about Lord Montgomery.
Well, yes, Lord Montgomery is an distinguished gentleman and an English lord. He was once an officer back in the war, but now he's in his twilight years, but that doesn't mean that he can't seek out honor and courage and do his best to help others as he sees fit. He acquired the site when he watched his entire company be consumed by a spectral mist, and ever since he's been scarred. You'll have to excuse him if he's a bit snobby, but that's just how he is.
So I wonder how he and Johan are going to get along as both former officers. I wonder who is the higher rank. I'll let you guys decide that.
Well, they're calling him a lord, so.
Oh yeah. So he's landed. Yeah. Plus, it would be you're in the Swedish, I think the Navy if you lost a ship. And Montgomery, were you in the Army, the British Army, the British Navy?
Cavalry division, I'd imagine.
I knew it. I just had a feeling. Yeah, he's got the figure.
In fact, you have a saber, correct?
I do indeed, yes.
Excellent. So definitely something that the cavalry would have. Let's go ahead and get started. So it all begins with the invitation. And not Dagmar. Johan, you get an invitation in the mail. And let me grab this real quick. Cut and paste. It says, Dear Cousin, I am writing to request your assistance in your capacity as a member of the Society. Something strange is afoot, and I cannot for the life of me make sense of it all. My wife Agnes and I recently had our first child, Edward. Suddenly, just a few weeks after his birth, Agnes was like a different woman. She wanted nothing to do with the child, and is now locked up at the Ahrensburg Sanatorium after going to the sauna in the middle of the night to, in her own words, drown the monster. Agnes has always been a wise and sensible person. I do not understand what has gotten into her. Perhaps it is my fault. I left her alone a lot as my dissertation took up much of my time. In addition, Edward's christening was postponed because I was invited to give a lecture on my dissertation at Lund University. I am at my wit's end. She will not talk to me anymore, and the only person she has been in contact with is her priest, Father Cornelius. Father Cornelius is convinced that Agnes is right, that the child has fallen victim to evil powers. He has proposed an exorcism. If he has his way, I fear for the child's safety. As a scientist, I cannot accept the ludicrous idea that supernatural forces could be at work. I need your expertise to navigate the situation. Perhaps someone with your experience could convince Agnes and the priest? I am desperate, dear cousin. Your help would be most welcome. Yours sincerely, Hugo von Kaiserling. I will make that visible. In the journals. And Johan, upon reading this, what is your initial reaction?
Yeah, Johan is like, I don't know, I imagine he's quite uncomfortable questioning some like religious superstitions. So I think he would immediately want to bring this to some of the more like academic minds in the group. And,
Well, I think our academic is Astrid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So definitely seeking Astrid's advice. You know, is an exorcism ridiculous? Is it reasonable? I don't know that he's very experienced at that.
Astrid, you could give me a roll if you want to see how maybe well informed you are on these things. That would be a learning roll. So if you click on learning, it's going to pop up a second screen. It will ask if you want to add your bookworm skill, because you would be looking for clues in libraries, and you're here at the Gillenkreutz Castle. There would be a library. You could look up and see if you want to use that, and then just go ahead and click roll, and let's hope you get 1-6 at least. And you do, 3 of them.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, you know that that exorcism has been around for, since the time of the Romans. In fact, the ancient Greeks and before that, even the ancient Egyptians felt that there were spirits that could inhabit the bodies of men and women, and that through religious ritual or conversion, which often proved fatal, the evil spirit, in quotation marks, could be chased away or removed. In the 21st century, we would probably say that most of these cases were probably mental illness. But back then, they didn't have a concept of that. And so, if someone's acting depressed or manic or something, they probably have an evil spirit in them. So that may be where Astrid is coming from. She's a little bit more enlightened and may know that there are conditions of the mind that could possibly cause this. But an exorcism would be what most devout Catholics, which it sounds like if they've got Father Cornelius, it's probably Catholicism, that would be the initial religious response to, if Agnes says this child is a little monster, they didn't do lobotomies, so let's do an exorcism.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you run with that bit of information that you find out. So what would you reply to Johan?
Yeah, I think Agnes, maybe her brow kind of furrows a little bit, and she just sighs deeply and is like, I've seen this kind of thing before where the church insists that it's supernatural when it's not, but I don't think we should rule it out either. We've all seen what walks with us in this world.
Yes. We do know there are some things science cannot explain, at least not to us. But, well, yes, I agree. Yeah, it does seem quite convenient going for an exorcism. But, well, if this is true, I couldn't not help my dear cousin. So, I suppose we're gonna have to propose a mission.
Now, you would know where your cousin lives. He lives on a small island called Osel. And Osel is, technically, it is part of what would be modern-day Estonia. This was Russia back in the day. There was still the native population that spoke Estonian, which was kind of a dialect of Russian, but a little bit different. But you know that your cousin would live on that island. So this is one of the rare mysteries that does not take place in Sweden. It is near Sweden, but this would be different. And Arensburg would be the largest city or the largest community on the island. Now, before we undertake the journey, we will need to make some preparations. And this is where your advantage will come into play. So let's start with Lord Montgomery. We'll start at the other end. Do you know what you would want to do for an advantage for this to get that +2 bonus to one single roll? What skill you would choose? And how would you prepare for that?
I think Lord Montgomery would choose manipulation. Perhaps this society is not the only society he's a member of, and he will spend some time speaking with some of his good friends that could give him information on this Mr. Hugo's affairs.
Excellent. So maybe you call in a few favors. What about Helena?
Perhaps I will maybe go to a library and research the local folklore of Osel.
Excellent. In fact, so is that going to be like a learning skill?
Yeah, probably. Or investigation.
Which one do you want to take for your advantage?
I'll take investigation.
Perfect. But give me a learning roll now as you're doing some of that research. Do you want to push that?
I don't think I will.
Okay, perfect. Let's go to Dagmar. What are you doing for your advantage?
I think Dagmar's pretty sure that none of the rest of this team is very familiar with babies.
Absolutely.
But she spent a lot of time on the street hanging out with the poorer folks. So she's going to hit the streets and she's going to actually go, "Can I mind your baby while you need to do this or that?" And she's actually going to look into the faces of the babies and into the eyes and the way they act to see if she can see what is normal baby behavior and what would be considered to be unusual. But I'm not quite sure what skill that would actually be.
It might be medicine. Medicine or vigilance. I would say either of those, and I'll let you choose which one.
I will go for medicine.
Okay.
So she wants to be able to look at this baby and see if it's about to, turn its head backwards or if it seems like a perfectly normal baby at some point.
It's like the Babysitters Club. This is fantastic. How about for Johan? What are you going to do for your advantage?
Yeah, after reading this letter, I had also thought investigation sounds reasonable. I think Johan's kind of like trying to think outside of the box, maybe researching whatever this might be, but more like, what could we look at? What questions are we going to ask? That kind of thinking.
Okay. What about, last but not least, Astrid?
Since Astrid is so old and connected to different folks, I'm assuming, I think I'm sure she has some kind of like priest contact somewhere.
Yes, absolutely.
I think she's going to ask them about like possession and like signs and like kind of just like pick their brain and figure out like if it is supernatural, like what would be the cues.
Excellent. That could be maybe vigilance or investigation.
We'll do vigilance.
Vigilance. Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Pull my notes back up. Anything else you want to do before you embark on this journey? It is a beautiful June day, and you take a stagecoach to the Swedish coast. Let's get some more gentle music going here. This is the gentle part of the adventure. On the Swedish coast, you board the schooner Letitia and sail to Arensburg. The weather gods smile upon you, and you spend your voyage enjoying the sun and the wind. A herd of seals gather around the ship, curiously watching the travelers. You sail to Oslo quite frequently, the crew sails to Oslo quite frequently, and can tell you all about Oslo and Arensburg. And they mentioned something very interesting about the Arensburg. They say that the actual name is Kuressaare. That's the Estonian name. And Kuressaare is the capital of Oslo, which is part of the Governorate of Livonia, which is in the Russian Empire under the Tsar. And trade flourishes in the area, and the town of Arensburg was once a very popular health resort. There are many sanatoriums built on the beaches of Arensburg where visitors could undergo various treatments for both mental and physical ailments. You know, these aren't asylums where you put the crazy folk. This is where, someone goes to, recover from the stress of life. It's almost a spa club / hospital. They also tell you that the island is well known for having large craters on the island, and most of the crew agree, although there is some disagreement, they agree that it is volcanic in nature, and that they are long dormant volcanic caldera that make these craters, many of which are filled with water and are now lakes. There are a few that tell rumors that the craters are actually from meteorites striking the Earth, causing these craters, but others dismiss it. No, it's volcanic. And the argument goes on and on for the entirety of the journey. When you arrive, it's the early morning as it approaches Arensburg Harbor, and even at sea you can see the harbor and the magnificent Oslo Castle with its moats and fortifications. It calls to mind another time when armored knights competed in tournaments. As you disembark, you find the harbor bustling with activity. It smells of fish, tar, spices, newly tanned leather, and livestock. Cargo is unloaded from the boats, and fish are being auctioned. Dock workers jostle with people waiting for shipments at the dock, and different languages are heard all over the harbor. German, Finnish, Swedish, Russian, and Estonian. Just a buzz of conversation with their distinctive cadences. Shortly after your arrival at the harbor, you are greeted by a scrawny valet named Tiet. Tiet is von Kaiserling's man, and he says, "I am at your disposal. I have a carriage. I can take you wherever you want to go. Count Hugo is of course at home, and Agnes is at one of the hospitals, the Arensburg Sanatorium. You are invited to stay at the von Kaiserling residence," and he asks Johan to step aside with him. A quiet moment, sir. A private word, if I may.
Of course.
Your cousin, Hugo, he is very stoic, but he is very, very distraught. He fears for his wife and child, and I am grateful to see you here. He puts much trust in you, as do us all. Surely you can help them, can you not?
Yes, well, you know how important blood is, but even if it were not, this is what we do. Help folk who have these strange issues. So of course, I'm humbled.
Thank you. Now, to where can I take you? I am your servant today.
Well, I should consult the party, but I would probably wish to speak with my cousin.
Tiet says, "Well, wherever you want to go, that's where we go. The rest can follow." And he goes and helps everyone get their luggage onto the carriage and opens the door, invites the women in first, offers the gentlemen a seat, and tells them it will be a quick journey. It's a small island, and please enjoy the sights.
Where does he go to sit on the carriage?
So he's up at the very top. There is a buck seat, so you could sit two people there.
Yeah, can I climb up there with Blix under my arm?
Yeah, he steps up and then lends you a hand and pulls you up into the seat. And he has a blanket up there. If you want to put it over your legs, you may, of course, but this air is quite bracing. And it's very comfortable. It's not chilly, but he's trying to be as kind and as much of a gentleman as possible.
Pull the blanket up, shake it out, put it over me, my dog, and then across his knees as well. I feel like he's more my class.
Absolutely.
Not quite, but I feel like I could build a little bond with him. So I'm going to chatter a little bit as we travel along.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, have you seen Agnes? And have you seen the baby? Can you tell me what you think? This is all very new.
He says, "Oh, well, I have not seen Agnes for quite some time. The baby, the baby seems happy, but you should really speak to the nurse. The nurse could definitely be of more assistance than me."
I'm sure she would. I'm sure she will. But she may not talk to me. And I kind of look, sort of point my fingers down at my somewhat old worn clothes, and I say, "It is said that Agnes was wise and kind, and that. What do you think has happened to her? Do you think that she has gone mad?"
He makes a sign that is a sign used to ward off the evil eye. He makes this little gesture, and he says, "That child is in need of Father Cornelius. I believe he can help him. But Hugo, he seems to think that his cousin is better suited to this task."
We are very good at what we do, don't you worry. But you think that Agnes is a good woman and that she is right.
I cannot say. I have my loyalty to them both, but a mother has certain instincts, and I do not believe that she would mean harm to this child unless there were truly something wrong. But really, you should speak to Aino. Aino, the wet nurse. She is the one that spends the most time with the child. She can tell you of a certainty.
Yes, I'm sure she will talk to me. And now point me out the best things in this town as we go.
Oh yes, of course. Well, over here, this is the place where they brew the finest tea in all of Oslo. And that is the fish market. And he just continues to point out various landmarks. The tree where he kissed his bride on their wedding day. We were married under those boughs over there. And then after a short time, his voice quiets down and he points to a church and a cemetery. And it is there that she lay to rest. And you see him dab at his eyes with his hand. And he sits up a little straighter. But no, this is to be a pleasant journey. Let me show you what Oslo has to offer. And he takes you past beautiful fields of flowers and some of the finer homes in town as you approach the von Kaiserling residence.
Thank you. I'm trying to become familiar as I can because this is not my city that I know so well.
This is, in fact, this would be very different from any Swedish city that you might know. The names there's two names for every street. There's a name written in Estonian, and then there's the Swedish name written over it. And it's a little confusing, and some of the names make sense to you, and others are just, it's like reading Greek. You can't make heads or tails of what the word might mean, but you just trust it means the same thing.
I make a map in my head as much as I can of what goes where, what's where as we go.
Excellent.
That is, of course, my job in the team. So
give me a learning roll. Oh, yeah. Yes, you do. You make a
from 3.
very accurate map. 2 successes with 3 dice. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that was amazing. She's good at this.
Oh yeah, you're the Google Map. If we need to know where to go, you will take us there. Now, those of you inside the carriage, how goes your conversation? What do you talk about? It's a very quiet ride.
Well, I think Lord Montgomery will remind everyone to be most vigilant, as we don't know what to expect. But halfway through the trip, he will definitely fall asleep.
Nice. Johan, how do you feel about that? About seeing this English lord, telling everyone to be vigilant, and then he's dozing quite noisily, I'm sure.
Well, that's the English for you. They get old and then they get soft. But he is a he is a wealthy man.
In fact, he was probably sitting up, very, very thin and proper, not taking up much room. But then he's just man spreading out on the bench as he falls asleep and kind of crowding everyone else. But he's a lord, What do? Do you wake him up and tell him to cross his legs?
62, so I imagine in the 1800s that would be quite old.
That'd be quite old. Yeah, he is venerable. What about Helena? Are you speaking with Astrid or with the two gentlemen?
I think maybe I would be discussing with Astrid or just with anyone who's listening. Maybe what I think is going on in our situation. I think maybe this baby might be possessed by a Vaesen or being haunted by a Vaesen or something of the sort.
Do you have any idea what it might be, if that is your line of reasoning?
Well, maybe I have a folklore book that I took with me that I'll pull out of my satchel and start looking through.
Yeah, and what Vaesen have you encountered in your journeys?
Well, I believe so far I've encountered the church grim.
Mm-hmm.
It's
the
the
Glosson,
mermaid.
the mermaid.
Yeah.
And then the Glosson, the night sow.
Yes.
And I think, you've not encountered from the Dance of Dreams. Did you play that Dance of, I forget what the Vaesen was. Revenant, that's what it was. And you have encountered a Revenant as well. And from what you know of those, do any of these seem like they might be suspected?
I couldn't think of any correlation now, but maybe once I know more about the situation, I could make a connection.
Give me a roll. Give me investigation. Oh, excellent. So your last adventure involved the Silver of the Sea. And if you recall, there was a child of the sea that was given to the family, and it was that child became a man and turned out to be quite an evil man. Do you recall that from the Silver of the Sea?
I do remember that, yes.
Yeah, so maybe that particular event, as it was relatively recent for you, is kind of at the forefront of your mind. That it is not outside the realm of possibility for that to happen. You also know, based on your adventures with the Wicked Secret, that religion is very prominent in many cities and in much of through Sweden and this part of the world during this time, and that if there is a priest involved, it's probably worth checking out the priest, because it seems like it's the priest's idea that this child be christened. Whether the family, necessarily wanted it, it sounds like the priest is pushing it quite heavily. After a short time, you arrive at the von Kaiserling residence. It is a beautiful home.
Wholesome. Oh dear.
Not haunted.
Not haunted at all. Absolutely not. At the edge of Arnsberg Castle Park, with a view of the castle walls, lies the von Kaiserling residence. It is a stone building with many rooms and a garden with hollyhocks rising against the walls. Teat says you are of course free to stay here during your time in Arensburg. If we step inside, you can meet Hugo and the boy's nurse, Aino. And he begins to unload your luggage, and he points you in the direction of the door. Please, please, no formality here. Let yourselves in. You are family, he says to Johan.
Oh, thank you. You're too kind. It's so good to see you, and I'd be remiss not to introduce my party here. It's a lot of names.
Do you head up to the door, or do you do anything on the way to the door?
Yeah, it is. I mean, definitely. In hindsight, probably should have gone to the father first. But yeah, I mean, thinking from like a Johan point of view, he would like to speak to Hugo.
Yeah, and he was, his cousin requested him. That's absolutely reasonable that would be your first stop. When you walk in, the first thing you hear is music. And you step in and you see a young man playing an instrument. And Johan, you recognize this is your cousin. He's sitting by the living room bay window, basking in the afternoon light. On his lap rests a triangular, multi-stringed instrument, which he plays. The song is beautiful, and for a few moments it takes you away from the city and from the weariness of travel. You see his hands glide effortlessly over the strings and frets. He seems to be in his own world inside his mind, one with the music, and the music washes over you like a refreshing sea breeze. After a moment, he looks up and smiles and greets you. Cousin, welcome. I am eternally grateful that you have come all this way. I have tried to understand what has gotten into poor Agnes. I worry so much about her. Come. I would have you meet Edward. And he sets down the instrument very gently, very delicately, onto the desk. And he puts a cloth over it and then takes you into the nursery, where beautiful windows overlook the garden. There you see 3-month-old Edward von Kaiserling. He's fast asleep in his cradle. He has pink cheeks and curly light brown hair sticking up from the top of his head. His wet nurse is there as well. And let me see. Do I have a picture of her? I've got a token. Oh, no, there's no picture. Well, I have a token with her name on it. I'll pull that token out here. Let me grab your tokens as well, just so we've got them.
That's a unique name.
Perhaps it's Estonian.
It is Estonian.
Oh, of course.
Well done.
Insightful. Yes.
I don't think Dagmar's going to wait. I think she's going to, in a childlike sort of way, she's going to, clap her hands very quietly and come over and look down into the cradle at the baby, not trying to wake it up, but kind of doing that sort of gushy sort of thing, like,
oh, a baby.
oh, so yeah, and my first impressions, and see if I can. I know he's asleep, but I just want to, does he look like the normal babies?
Yeah. Do you want to make that roll, that medicine roll?
Sure. Oh, not yet. Not till he's awake.
Okay, perfect. Lord Montgomery, you require a beverage. You just, yes, thirsty work traveling here. Never mind the horses. What about me?
Certainly.
Teat comes in and, I'm so sorry. Would you like tea or coffee or something stronger for the gentleman?
Something a bit stronger, and I will take out a few monies from my vast money clip and perhaps tuck it into a pocket of his.
Do you give him like English pounds, or do you have money from here?
I'd imagine since I've been spending some time here, I would have acquired some of the strange Swedish money.
Oh, excellent. You probably look at it like, it's like colored paper, shove some in his pocket, not realizing even how much you gave him. It could have been, a week's wage. It's no concern of yours. What's money?
Oh, and indeed, master servant, while you're at it, if you have some spare time, perhaps you could acquire for me a pipe and some tobacco. I wish to calm myself. I'm sure whatever I gave you shall cover the cost.
And Teet says, I am so sorry. I did not realize. Oh, forgive me. And he rushes to quickly find some tobacco. And you hear him muttering a few words to himself. Give me an observation roll.
Ooh.
He is scolding himself for his insolence, and he mentions that he must do penance, and that he must speak to Father Cornelius to make amends for his shortcomings.
Ah, Mr. von Kaiser, Kaiserling, a very fine servant you have here, indeed.
Yes, well, Teet's been with the family for quite some time, and what a horrible name, Teet. That's actually what it is, T-E-E-T. So,
Wow.
yeah. So, Teet's been with the family for quite some time, but he has his uses. I'm sorry he was not more prepared. We were not expecting landed gentry, so forgive me. Dagmar, as you are looking at this baby, just give me a regular medicine roll without your advantage.
I'm also looking across at Eno, and when Montgomery acts like a knob, I actually sort of roll my eyes at her a little bit, like I'm kind of building that bond
She
between
gives you that smile that is like, it's universal for, the lower classes, whenever they see the upper classes making asses of themselves. It's just this universal, like, oh, yeah.
And I guess he looks like a perfectly sweet, normal sleeping baby.
Yeah.
So,
do you want to push that roll?
no.
Okay, yeah, it looks like a very healthy baby, very young. He's got, beautiful eyes. Well, his eyes are not open. Beautiful color.
Long eyelashes.
Long eyelashes.
Yes.
Some lovely hair. I know.
When I gush.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I gush over the baby like that and I sort of squee over the baby, when I look over it, I know, does she actually look fond or proud, or what does she actually do?
Give me an observation roll and add 1 bonus die to that. Because you are making efforts to kind of bring commonality to the two. Excellent. You see that she has a worried look on her face, and she's looking down at the baby, and you can tell that she looks worried.
So she's not just happily enjoying this perfectly normal child. So,
not at all.
Okay, good, thank you.
Mm-hmm. What about Astrid? What are you doing?
That is a good question. I think Astrid is like walking around the room trying to like look super casual, like she's just like, taking everything in. But she's maybe trying to see if there are any like anything is like out of place, like if there's like something that's there that shouldn't be there or that would look weird kind of in like a nursery.
Yeah, give me an investigation roll.
Yeah. No.
You notice that there's a window near the crib where the baby is sleeping, and the window is shut, but you can see there's a little bit like maybe like a handful of dark soil, and it's on the ground, on the hardwood floor, just under the window, and you can see that the window sill looks like it has been wiped, but there are telltale signs of dirt on the windowsill on the inside of this room.
I think she's going to maybe try to covertly like get some of the dirt. Like maybe she pretends to like drop something.
Give me,
And
give me
just
a stealth roll for that.
Oh man, she's not stealthy. Let's see. All right, Astrid, let's go.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice. You maybe you see a child's toy, a rattle or something on the ground. As you go to pick it up, it's under the crib, and as you're reaching under, you grab a small little handful of that dirt. And after you hand Aino the rattle, you step back and turn around and surreptitiously look down at it, and it's very dark, almost black looking soil, and it's very healthy looking soil. Like this is the stuff that plants would love to grow in. This isn't just clay. This is good soil.
Interesting.
But it's very dark, almost black.
Okay.
What about Johan? What are you doing, sir?
I think he was probably just going. He's not very subtle. He was probably just going to ask the wet nurse a few questions. More to the tune of the child. Say, wet nurse. What have you observed anything with this child? You know, we've only just heard the story, but you've been very personally attached to this child.
She stands up tall when you call her name, and she clasps her hands in front of her, and she looks down. She won't make eye contact with you, and she gives a little curtsy after you finish your question, and she says, "Please forgive my poor Swedish. I do not speak well. Please repeat, amplify," she says. "Give me a manipulation roll."
Ooh.
Do you want to push that?
No, Johan is very honest man.
She says, I think I know you talk about baby?
Yes, baby, that.
It is customary here in Osel to christen children as soon as possible to protect them from evil. But Edward was not christened right away because Master von Kaiserling had a dissertation. And in fact, you notice that Hugo's no longer in the room. And you're like, he was just here, and then you hear that sound picking up again of him playing that song. And she says, I tried to convince Agnes to sew protective runes into the pillowcase in the cradle. But she forbade me to do such superstition, and she sent for Father Cornelius instead. But that same night, Agnes, she goes mad. I found her standing over a full tub in the process of drowning her newborn son. The baby, there's nothing at all. The baby is perfect and sweet, but I worry that the baby needs protection.
Thank you. Helpful. In trying to get past the language barrier. It just one last thing is, what do you think of Father Cornelius's suggestion? That's a no. You're thinking he needs something more, something else, different. What?
Father Cornelius. And she actually spits on the ground and stamps her foot in it, and then she looks up at you. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. The child does not need Father Cornelius. This house does not need Father Cornelius. The spirits of Osul will watch over this baby, not Father Cornelius.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yes, of course. At that, the baby begins to wake up, and you hear the soft, plaintive cries. And Aino reaches in and picks up the child and holds him, and then looks at Dagmar. Would you like to hold Edward?
I so would, and I'm quite good at holding babies, so I take him and I goo to him and I look into his eyes and I see if I can work out if there's anything going on. So could I use my advantage now?
Yes, you can. So add your +2 bonus to that.
And success.
Nice. So it looks like a healthy, very healthy baby. He's 3 months old, but he's a big boy. He's heavy, much heavier than he looks, and he's already grasping. He's grasping for your hand and for your
my
hair
finger
and
out.
your finger, and he takes your finger and puts it into his mouth, and you feel a sharp bite, and you pull out your finger, and there's a little bit of blood, and you look, and he smiles, and he already has 2 bottom teeth at 3 months old, which you know is very unusual.
Are they normal looking teeth or are they pointy? I go, he got me! He's
Yeah.
teething already!
Normal looking teeth. They are the nice little cutting teeth, but they're not fangs or pointed teeth. But you know that it's often 10 months or even a year before teeth show up in a baby.
So I will tell the others that later, but at the moment I don't respond particularly much. I just go, oh, what a bonny baby! He's teething already, isn't that amazing? And I just sort of like rock him and keep my fingers away from his mouth for a little while.
When you say that, Aino kind of shakes her head. I know, baby is too grown. He gets too big already. He needs protection. And then she looks out the window, and you can see she's looking towards the church, the Catholic church in town. And she's got
Having heard her,
she's got a scowl on her face.
Yeah, okay. I would love to talk to you more later.
Yes,
I say,
that would be wonderful.
and I keep holding him and rocking him as long as everybody else is, unless anybody wants to have a closer look.
She says, will you stay the night? I can prepare the rooms.
Look at the grown-ups.
Yep, I believe that is the plan.
She takes the baby in her arms and begins to head through the house, singing songs in her native Estonian tongue to this child. Hugo is still in the other room. The music has stopped, and you can hear the scratching sound of writing. And Helena, you're probably, as a, I believe you're a writer, you know that sound, and you know that he's writing something down. It strikes you as odd as why Hugo let you in, showed you the baby, and then just went back to whatever he was doing. It's like his wife is in a hospital. People say there's something wrong with the baby. He thinks there's something wrong with the baby, but he just doesn't seem to care. What would Helena do?
Yes, well, that does seem quite weird. I think I'll go over and try to talk to him.
Talk to Hugo? He looks up, and you can see he's writing down the score to a song. You can see he's putting the notations down, writing music, writing out whatever he was just playing. It looks as though he's filling that out. And he stops and looks up at you. Yes, you are friends with Johan, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Can you help? Can you help my wife and my baby?
Well, I'm sure we will all certainly try.
Oh, thank you. You must forgive me. I've done so much research into the songs of this island and the folklore. I'm more than happy to talk to you about the tales that this land has. There are craters outside Kali village to the northeast, and these craters, oh, they're magnificent. I believe that falling stars came down from the heavens and struck the earth and made these huge bowls. And the water there is said to be quite magical.
I see. And about this music you're writing, you have taken an interest in music?
Yes, the local music. The folks in Kali village, they gave me this instrument. They let me borrow it, and I used it for my dissertation, and it makes such lovely songs. And the songs seem to evoke a peace and calm in the home. Why, you see, the baby was sleeping when I was playing, and oh, there's so much history in these songs, so many wonderful things. And the people in Kali village are very, very kind, and they were so helpful to me. I was at a loss for what to do for my dissertation, but they helped me very much. And this instrument, this dulcimer, is so beautiful and so sweet, and the sounds are so gentle and kind. And you notice that he doesn't really say a lot about his wife or his baby, but he sure talks a lot about his dissertation. Talks a lot about his research, about the history. He just opens right up. But, when you ask him about the baby, it's like, oh, baby's over there, something's wrong with the baby. My wife, she suffers from melancholy. It's from the agonies of childbirth. But I don't know what to do. I am not a doctor, and, I know seems to carry on about superstitious things. I thought it would be best to bring Johan here, and if you are friends with Johan, you are welcome in my home.
Well, thank you. Your dissertation sounds very interesting. Would you mind telling me about it?
Oh, of course. Let me tell you an excerpt. This is from one of the songs that the people in Kali village told me. Quick the heavens are burst asunder, quick the vault of Ukko opens. Downward drops the wayward fire child, downward quick the red ball rushes, shoots across the arch of heaven, hisses through the startled cloudlets, flashes through the troubled welkin, through 9 starry vaults of ether. The great stars smashed into the earth and made these lovely, lovely craters. What else would you know?
I see. Well, thank you for telling me about all this. It's all very interesting.
Yes, of course. I am passionate about studying local legends and local songs. I was educated in Sweden, but I am now a graduate student at the Department of Social and Economic Geography at Uppsala. I've done fieldwork on Oslo for my dissertation. It is called Songs of Shadow and Fire. I examine the origin of the Kali craters, whether it can be traced in local legends and songs, and I am convinced it was caused by meteorite, not as many would tell you by volcanic activity. I went to Kali village in the hopes of collecting tales and songs to describe the history of the area, but I encountered problems. The villagers were suspicious of outsiders, and rightfully so, and they would not share their rich folklore. But then I met one of their leaders, Lilo Sisalik. And Lilo, she runs the Tuljak Inn, and the Tuljak Inn is a beautiful place for music and food in Kali village. She loaned me this instrument, and he gently places his hand upon the dulcimer. She told me that if I learned to play the local melodies, that the villagers would open up a bit more. She invited me to perform at Tuljak. I did. And it was lovely. I accepted the instrument in one of the largest of the craters where I was taking soil samples. I spent months learning to play the instrument and developed such a deep love for the local music. It has been so lovely. Everyone loves to hear these songs. I finished my dissertation about a month or so before Agnes gave birth, and Songs of Shadow and Fire introduced my theory that the craters were the result of a meteorite impact. It was described by my external reviewer as groundbreaking in both content and method, and had a significant impact in Uppsala and Europe. I wanted to keep searching for more songs, and I have just loved these sounds that I can make with this dulcimer. It's peaceful and relaxing.
Of course. Would you mind if I took a look at your instrument?
I
I promise I'll be so very careful with it.
It is very delicate. Let me hold it. You're welcome to touch it, but please, are your hands clean?
Oh, yeah, yes, of course.
Do you mind putting on some gloves?
Okay.
And he hands you some white cotton gloves. We can't be too careful. Any smudges on this could ruin the finish.
I understand.
And you get the sense he loves this instrument more than he loves his child.
I can tell.
Give me an observation roll. Do you want to push that?
Wonka.
Yes.
So you will take a condition. Excellent. So go ahead and give yourself a mental condition. As you look at this instrument, two things strike you as odd. One is that the strings are not catgut, like is common with lutes and other instruments. It looks to be gut, but it's very, very fine. And the wood is a type of wood that you are not familiar with. You're not a scientist, but it's definitely some sort of unique wood. Unique wood and unique strings. And he seems apprehensive to let you touch it.
What do I think the wood and the strings are made from? Do I recognize the materials?
That's gonna take an investigation roll.
Can I use my bonus for that?
Absolutely. Well,
Really?
you want to push it?
Yeah, I'll push it.
Okay. Oh, barely. Then take another mental condition. The wood is... It's from a tree that was once native to this part of the world, but has not been seen since the time of the Vikings. It was used to build Viking longships and was harvested to the point of near extinction in this part of the world. It is still found in parts of Denmark and Norway, but not this far east, not in Sweden, not in Estonia, not in continental Europe.
Were the trees there before the craters were formed?
That you don't know. With one success, you would need more successes. You don't know, but you know that that tree is no longer found in the forests of this part of the world. The strings, you're not sure, but you think it might be human.
Oh. Well, what do you mean by human?
Like human gut.
Okay.
They would take the intestinal gut of a cat and stretch it out and dry it to make strings for guitars and lutes and things at the time, violins. But this, you think, is possibly human.
Okay.
Give me a fear test. You can either do logic or empathy.
I'll do empathy.
You're gonna take one, or you're gonna suffer fear. Excuse me, for a couple of rounds. You're gonna have a response. Sometimes you drop something. What's your response to this fear? What would your reaction be?
I think maybe I would just like jump away from the instrument, maybe take a few steps back, pull off the gloves, and like throw them down on the floor.
So you're going to take one more condition. I think this is now 3 mental conditions.
Yes.
For failing your fear test. Unless you want to push that, but if you fail it again, you'll be broken.
Yeah, I'll just take the
Okay.
condition.
He lets out a squeal as you make a sudden movement around his dulcimer. This is why I held on to it. This is why I would not let you hold it. And he holds it almost like a child, lovingly up to his chest, and paying no mind for your terror. But you see him cradling this almost unnaturally evil. Like there's the look on his face, like this is his precious. If he were Gollum.
Do I see something in his eyes, like maybe a spell over him or something?
Give me observation.
Yeah.
Nice. No.
Okay.
You do not see any sort of spell or any sort of look as though he has fallen under some sort of spell or magical effect. This is Hugo. This is who he is. Astrid, when you hear Helena let out a little squeal, and you hear Hugo almost shouting at her, what do you do?
She'll probably just like run into the room and just be like, what's going on here?
She was touching the precious things, and I can't have her hurting my instrument. This is my livelihood now. This is my research. This is everything.
Your research? So you are an academic as well?
Yes. I work at the university in Uppsala. I wrote a dissertation, and then he goes into another lengthy, almost like forgetting the whole, frightened woman in the room, and goes on to his whole spiel about the meteorites and the music and Kali Village and Lilo and the Tuljak Inn, and just instantly goes back into that story. It's like when you engage with a bot try to help you on a website, and just like, oh, we're back to where we started, and he just like keeps going back to this line of talk.
I think.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, while he's doing that, I think Astrid will try to like make eye contact with like Helena, and just kind of like give her like a "Are you okay?" like sort of look, like, because he's very distracted, I think, at this point.
Oh yeah.
I'll look at her and then kind of make like wide eyes at the dulcimer.
So what mental conditions does Helena have right now?
Every single one except broken.
So what are so Helena looks to Astrid. She looks angry, frightened, and hopeless. She has this just look of absolute terror and hopelessness on her face.
Oh my. I think Astrid, kind of seeing all of this, is going to, he's holding the lute, right?
Yes.
I think she's going to kind of like reach out while he's in the middle of the spiel and just kind of like tap it.
Oh,
Like,
man.
she's gonna, like, with her hand.
Give me a close combat roll.
Yes. Ho.
He's going to try to pull that away. If he gets one success, he will manage to pull that away. Let me grab Hugo. What a handsome-looking fellow. Looks like he's related to Pete and Pace. Let me grab this right here.
He does rather.
Oh, yeah.
No, so you tap his dulcimer, and he freaks out. He lets out this high-pitched squeal like he's just been scalded with water. No! You'll ruin the finish! And he immediately pulls out a small cleaning cloth and begins to buff hastily at the spot that you touched, as though the oils from your hand would somehow mar the surface.
Is he wearing gloves?
He does not have gloves on.
Oh, Astrid is like, well, you're also not wearing gloves. Your hands have oils too.
But it is conditioned to my own oils and juices. I can touch this. It's fine.
I don't think that's how that works, but all right. And she, I think she'll kind of cross around him, and go over to Helena, and just be like, Helena, would you like to go grab some air?
Oh, yes, please.
And then she, I think goes to try to, like, she's not actually gonna do it, but she's gonna fake him out and try to tap the lute again.
Ooh.
Like, not really, but, you know, like, just to mess with him.
Lunge at it.
Yeah.
He twists it away from you, stands up. Teat! Take these women out. And Teat shows up, and he looks apologetically like, I'm very sorry. Please, come enjoy the garden for a moment. And then he whispers to you, I'll calm him down.
And Astra's like, see that you do. And as they're on their way out, she's like, was he always this delicate about his instruments?
No, he's never really had a mind for music until shortly before the baby was born, when he started his research. I've never known him to even whistle a tune.
Interesting. And now he can just play music.
Yes, it's like a gift from God, surely.
Definitely a gift from something.
Nice. He takes the two of you. I'm just going to move you down here. You guys are outside of the house. Dagmar, do you go with them, or do you stay with Montgomery and Johan?
I think I'd gone with Ino, who was going to show me where the rooms were for us.
Perfect.
So I'm going to take advantage of that. When she takes me into my room, I'm going to like sort of close the door and say, you know, I would like to ask her a little bit more if I can.
Perfect. What are the gentlemen doing? What is Johan and Lord Montgomery doing?
Lord Montgomery will pull out his pocket watch and check the time and say, 3:30, it's nearly time for dinner. Perhaps we shall keep our conversations brief. Mr. Hugo, perhaps you would mind answering a few questions I have for you, seeing as I am your guest.
Oh, of course, although I did not invite you here to interrogate me, and he laughs almost uncomfortably.
Oh, no, certainly not. But I imagine you should feel grateful having your home graced by such a lordly presence.
Give me a roll for that. That's gonna be manipulation.
Yes, your manner is quite fine. I noticed it was only 2 stories, though. You know, mine back home in England is 4.
Add a bonus die to that roll.
That's 2 times yours if my arithmetic serves.
Oh, yes, but in England, you call the first floor the second floor. So you're adding numbers on there. So if you say you have 3 floors, well, really, there's only 2, because the ground floor doesn't count.
Yes.
Perfect. So yeah, he instantly looks at you almost offended, but then he realizes that you're right, that his home, while large, is likely not the size of yours. And he, as a bit of a gentleman himself, albeit very young, recognizes your station is higher than his, and he instantly becomes more compliant. Let me move you two with him.
Yes, perhaps you wouldn't mind giving me and your dear cousin here a tour of your grounds. I much would like to see it. I'm sure your gardens do not compare to the fine ones we have in England, but I will humor myself.
Well, yes, of course. We've probably some plants you've not in England, the climate here being different and whatnot, but I'll see what I can do. Excuse me a moment, I'll just put this away. And he goes to a large trunk on the ground and opens it up, and there are blankets inside. And he sets the dulcimer inside, gently covers it with a few blankets, closes the lid, locks it, and puts the key into a pocket. Come, let me show you the roses around the back. And he takes you out the back, whereas the ladies went out to the garden in the front. Let's go back to Dagmar, and then we're gonna have something that happens. So Dagmar, you're alone with Aino. She's showing you the different rooms, and there's a room for each of you here. And she walks past her own room, and as she walks by, you see her take a few quick steps ahead, and she shuts the door to her room. I'm sorry, it's a bit of a mess.
Well, any sort of room would be wonderful to me. I spent many years on the streets,
Well, I'll give you the best room. And she takes you to a room. She opens the door, and it's got a 4-poster bed, and there's more room in this room than you probably have ever had for a single room for yourself. Even at
Sit on the edge
the castle. Yeah,
and bounce.
Yeah,
I bounce on the bed.
It's
Oh,
a
wow, this
feather
is so
bed. Absolutely lovely.
Okay, come sit by me. Bring the baby and come sit by me for a minute.
She will eagerly go and sit by you holding the baby.
Okay, and I play with one of his little hands and let him hold my hand without letting him get it near his mouth.
He has a very strong grip, and you notice once he gets a hold of your hand, you almost have to pry his fingers off.
And I say, oh my goodness, he's such a strong bonny baby. Tell me, as a wet nurse, have you ever experienced such a child's growth in such a way before?
She looks down and says, never a child for which I have cared for. I have never seen this before. He needs protection.
Do you have seen it in a child someone else cared for?
And she nods her head, yes.
Please, we are here to help him. Anything you can tell us that would help?
She says, you will find answers in Kali Village. Kali Village will have the answers that you seek. Please do not let Father Cornelius christen this baby.
You seem not to like him. I know you said about the runes. Have you drawn runes for the baby despite being told you couldn't?
And she nods her head, yes.
Then you are protecting him as best you can. What is it about Father Cornelius that you do not trust or like?
She looks kind of uncomfortable, as though she doesn't want to say. Give me a manipulation roll, and you can add 1 bonus die to this. She says, this man, Father Cornelius, he is wrong about many, many things. The least of all is what this baby needs. He does not know what this baby needs. But
What does this baby need?
People from Osul knows what this baby needs. This baby needs retribution. It needs things to be made right. Things are not right at the moment.
Could you tell me what things are not right, that we may put them right?
There are folk in Osul who live in communities where they brew beer, keep livestock, get married, and have their own traditions. They hate everything about the Christian religion. These folk sometimes exchange favors and tools with people like you. But you have to keep your word. And that has not happened. These folk, they look like you and me. They can be very beautiful, but there's always something that gives them away. Christian symbols cannot be brought into the dwelling of this folk unless the person, and she kind of laughs, turns their clothes inside out and walks backwards through the entrance while speaking backwards. It's silly, I know, but it's very true. And if Edward were to be baptized, well, these people would have nothing to do with him, and that would be very wrong.
Edward or Agnes of these people?
Agnes is not. She is like you and I, but Edward, he is so big. He has grown so much. And one night, I thought I saw something in his room. He was standing up. This child is 3 months old. He was standing at the window, looking out at the moon. And his shadow was a terrible thing. I looked at this shadow and this full moon, and I thought, oh, this must be. But Mr. Hugo does not listen to me. He has wronged someone, and he must make amends. Or Edward, and you notice that she says Edward. She pauses before she says Edward. Or Edward will not be well. No, he will not be well at all.
Who did Hugo wrong? The people, the folk of Oso?
Something was... I cannot say it. He was given something for a time, but he has not kept his end of the bargain.
Is it the instrument that he plays so lovingly?
Yes, it was loaned to him until his dissertation was done, but that has been months, and still he has it and still he plays.
So he was to give it back, or he was to pay for it in some other way?
I believe it was to be given back, but since he has not, it has likely been paid for in another way.
And by the changes to Edward.
Yes.
And you, who love this child and care for this child, would say that we can recover his health if we are to help with this?
His very life, not just his health.
I just pat her arm and I say, you know, we are very good at this, and I think and feel that we can help, but I must go speak to my colleagues.
Yes, I will put Edward down again. I will give him his supper. The boy is already eating solid food. I will give him his supper.
I would think to be his wet nurse at this time would not be a comfortable thing.
No, that's why I'm glad he will take meat and honey and bread. Things that you would never give a baby of his age. But he takes them and eats them ravenously.
I chuck his little cheek without getting too close to his mouth, and I pat her arm again. I say, I will go speak to my colleagues. You have been wise to tell me these things.
When you pat him on the cheek, he makes eye contact with you, and he looks at you with an almost hyper-intelligent look. And you see something in his face, and it reminds you of something that you saw once before the loss of your family. And that look, that eye looking at you, almost like a hunter's eye, as the predator might look at prey. And then the baby blinks and looks down at his feet and begins to play with his toes.
Oh boy. Okay. Okay. I make tracks outside.
Perfect. Outside, in the front garden, we've got Astrid and Helena. And you see a man approaching. And this man is bearded, wearing a dark, almost a robe. He has a chain with a crucifix around his neck. This is Father Cornelius. And he approaches. He says, "Von Kaiserling, I demand to be allowed to take the child to the church to protect it from evil. Where is this man?" And then he sees the two ladies. "I'm sorry, ladies. Forgive me." And he walks past you and goes and begins to pound on the front door.
I think Astrid is going to go up to him and kind of try to get between him and the door if she can.
Yeah. Give me a force roll to try and get between him and the door. And this will be an opposed roll. He's going to roll force as well.
Okay. There's... Oh.
And he rolls... So you're tussling. He can't quite reach the door. Do you want to push that at all?
Yeah, I think she'll... Oh, oops. I tried to push his. Oops. Oh my gosh, Astrid.
Yeah, so you will take a physical condition, but you manage to keep him from the door. You can take either exhausted, battered, or wounded. You'll just click on that condition on the bottom of the main tab of your character sheet. Perfect. As he kind of... he doesn't treat you very ladylike. He's very forceful with you. And he says, "Stand aside in the name of the Lord."
She's like, "Is the Lord ordering you to break into someone's house?"
"It is not ordering me to break into a house. The Lord has ordered me to save a child, to save it from damnation."
Excuse me, Father, but that is why we are here. We are here to determine whether this baby is evil or not.
"Tut tut, leave this to the men. Leave this to those who know the well-being of children. I would know better than any woman what a child needs, and it needs baptism." And you sense right away that he is a horse's ass. That he's just very pompous, very sure of himself, very dismissive of women.
Well, pardon me, but we are experts on supernatural things, and I think we would know more about babies than you, sir.
"Well, one of you looks like you had children in the Pleistocene era, and the other one looks like no man would ever touch you."
Can I slap him?
Yes, you can.
Right?
Give me a
Can we both stop?
Yes. Give me a close combat roll. Oh, all right.
Nice.
He is he's going to fight back.
Phew, that's a lot of fighting skills for a priest.
He catches your wrist as you try to slap him and gives you a little push away, but Astrid, yours will connect. So as Astrid connects with that slap, let me mark off a little bit of health for him. He stands back and he holds up his cross and says, "In the name of the Lord, I command you to leave here, temptresses. You'll not tempt this flesh."
Astrid is gonna just try to rip the cross from him and throw it, chuck it into the bushes.
Give me a force roll.
Go, Astrid.
Fighting a priest,
Ooh.
Oh no.
Do you want to push it?
Yeah, because it's just a fun image. Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh shoot! So you're grabbing at the cross, and he's like, nope, nope, nope. A woman must not touch this. This is meant for a man. This is man's work. What about Helena? What are you doing?
After he pushed me, I'll kind of like fall to the ground and start screaming in pain. Ah, he's hurt me. The priest has hurt me.
You smell a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Johan, you hear this. You can hear the shouting, and then you hear Helena's voice saying she's been hurt.
Right. Yeah, of course. That's something to investigate. We're indoors with these two fine gentlemen.
No, you went out into the rose
We're
garden.
out-
Yep, you're around the
We need
back.
like around the back. Okay. Well, that may even be better. Nice. Hugo, if you will, and then he heads off around the corner.
So the fastest way is going to be to climb this wall that's covered in ivy. You could go through the house, but from where you are, it's just on the other side of that wall. You are in your nice clothes. It's a little slick. You can probably do it physically, but do you choose to do that, or do you go through the house?
I mean, someone is calling out that they're injured or wounded, so, at that point, I think the, engage instinct would have kicked in. He'll try to scramble over.
Give me an agility roll. Oh, man.
Ooh.
You want to push that?
Well, not particularly, but I think I will. That's only fitting. He's not fond of this plan of action.
You're going to get pollen on your uniform, probably scuff your shoes.
Tragic.
There we go. You manage to make it over the wall. You hear Lord Montgomery saying, "Oh, yes, up and over, man, just like in the trench." And he stands back. He has no intention of scaling that wall. Or do you, Lord Montgomery?
Oh, no, it'd be unsightly.
Absolutely.
You probably just pick a rose and stick it into your suit pocket while Johan takes care of this. You've finer things. A gentleman wouldn't scale a wall. That's what the servants are for, or the younger officer. Johan, as you get over the wall, you can see Helena laying on the ground, probably holding her wrist, and you see Astrid tussling with this Russian Orthodox Catholic priest, and they're fighting over his crucifix. What would Johan do?
Well, geez, I mean, get involved. I think Johan's probably a religious guy, so he's like, what the fuck is
Right?
going on here? But also, he knows these people. These are his friends. He wouldn't even hesitate to get involved. Probably not like, with any kind of real... Yeah, I'm not going to shoot him, but just try to force them apart.
Yeah, give me a force roll if you want to try and get Father Cornelius away from Astrid. And he's tied up, so when he rolls to counter that, which he will do, he will have a penalty of 1 on that. Yeah, so he doesn't counter it. So you're now engaged in this tussle between the two of them. And Helena, you see that your knight in shining armor has arrived, and he's got his hands full with this priest. Dagmar, you can hear shouting coming from outside as you are heading down. And just as you come to the door, you're probably down here, you look out and you can see Johan and the priest over here fighting. Astrid's involved. Helena's on the ground. You hear Lord Montgomery, "Oh, a beautiful red rose. This will look fine when I'm drinking port tonight." And Hugo's just absent-mindedly saying, like, "What? Huh? Yeah? Oh, sure. Yes. Of course." What would Dagmar do?
I run up and kick him in the shins, and when I kick him in the shins, Blix is going to bite him in the ankle.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Give me a close
You
combat
let my
roll.
friends go! Close combat, and that gives me a plus
Plus
2.
2 with Blix. Yep.
Okay, so I add that as a bonus dice. 2.
Oh,
I've kicked many a shin in my time.
Okay, so you just needed one success to cause damage. He gets to fight back. He needs to get 3 successes. I don't think he can. He might be able to get 3. Oops. Oh my gosh, he got 3.
Wow.
Wow.
Jinxed us.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you go to kick at him. Blix is snapping at him. He steps up, and as he does, he kind of pulls away from Astrid. Now, Astrid, I will let you choose. Does the cord break on the crucifix, or does he come away with it? What would you like, Astrid?
Oh, sorry. I totally forgot I was Astrid.
It's like, who? What are they talking about? Yeah, do you want to, when he gets separated, does the crucifix come off in your hand, breaking the chain, spilling his rosary beads everywhere, or does he manage to pull it out of your grasp? I'll let you choose.
Ooh, let's spill the beads.
Ooh. You hear a popping sound and then the clatter of rosary beads all along those cobbles. And he gives you a look of just utter disdain. And he steps back and says, I will return, and when I do, you will pay for your heresy. And he turns and storms out of the yard.
Come back.
Astrid just goes, nice to meet you.
Nice. Well, so far you've made a good inroad with the local clergy, so excellent.
Yep.
Hugo then comes around and says, oh, was there a problem? No? Great. I'm going to get back to my music. Teet will have dinner ready in 30 minutes.
Okay.
Do you guys want to take a break here for a couple minutes, or do you want to keep going?
Break's a good idea.
A break?
Yeah, short break.
Yep.
Okay, let's take a short break. I will see you all in about 7 minutes or so.
might be out to get me. A hero in armor and truth. Bards tell my legacy. The flame of my torch illuminates the enemy. I win in a battle. You win foes asunder. Deeper I venture, the deeper I wonder. The bodies pile up before me, the corpses I plunder. The deeper I venture, the deeper I wonder. Crafted from numbers on living paper. I skip from the mundane to a immutable caper. And while in real life, my fate is unspoken. Hero roll of the dice and my fate is unspoken. I drink my last potion. I charge through the open gate. The flame of the dragon tried to seal my awful fate. With a handful of dice, 5 times I rolled 20. The dragon goes down. The DM no bloody. I leave with the princess, a satchel chock full of gold. We head to the tavern where my mighty tale unfolds. Crafted from numbers on living paper. I skip from the mundane to a naval caper. While in real life, my fate is unspoken. Hero roll of the dice and my fate is unspoken.
All right, I am back. Is everyone here?
Yeah.
I see Tina.
Yes.
I see Miss Pick. I
Yes.
see Alex. Henrik and Luke, are you here? I see Luke.
Yes.
And there's Henrik. Excellent. Let's get back into it. So, you have dinner, and over dinner, Hugo is courteous at best. Any small talk he makes or any conversation, he quickly tries to bring back around to his scholarly studies, back around to his dissertation and the different things that he has done. But he scarcely mentions his wife or the baby. He just wants to talk shop, talk about the craters and the people, Kali village, the history of this land, and especially the songs and folklore.
I mean, if Helena's, help Helena to stand up, can I, dust her off a little bit,
Yes.
give her a hug? I'm very fond of Helena. I feel like she's the person who cares for me the most. So, and maybe help her to heal a little bit from what she's been experiencing.
Yeah, so maybe while you guys or while dinner is being prepared to be served, we'll have a couple minutes, and if you guys want to act out that scene where you can
Yeah.
recover some stuff, it's typically done with a couple different players. And let me just grab the rules, just make sure I've got this correct. I had the page open and I just lost it. You can recover up to 2 points. This is just a scene. You describe a scene together with one or several PCs to recover from 2 conditions, and this can be done once per day. So, what would Dagmar and Helena talk about?
I'm going to say, here, let me just get that dirt off your bottom and brush off her back of her skirt and hold her hands and look into her eyes. And I'm going to say, I've been knocked over a lot on the streets. People aren't always kind when you're out there, but you can get up, and I know that it's scary in there and it's really creepy in there. And the baby, look at my finger. But we can do this. We've got everybody. And I know how smart and tough you are.
Oh, thank you, Dagmar. You've always been so kind and so brave.
So this starts to give you some hope, Helena. You can recover the hopeless condition, and you can also recover from the frightened condition, but you're still angry. You're angry about Father Cornelius, about Hugo's aloofness, and about the lack of concern for this child.
So we've got just about everybody out in the front garden with us at this point?
Yeah, just Montgomery kind of slowly saunters in. He
Okay.
probably looks over at Johan, good show climbing that fence, chap. And maybe you talk to him about, some of your service in the war. You guys can act out this scene here. That will let, I think Johan has a physical condition. And Astrid also has some physical conditions. How do you guys work that out? So Montgomery, what would you say to Johan?
Well, Montgomery will do his best to bolster his fellow officers' spirits. Johan, back in my soldier days when I was in command of my own cavalry division, we crushed these Russians in the Crimean War. They didn't stand a chance against us. And so I believe you shouldn't have to worry much, for the mighty Lord Montgomery will see to it that things are handled, so don't trouble yourself.
And Johan, this sounds like officer talk, but you may recover from your battered condition. He's just trying to boost you up and get you back on your feet.
Yeah, he must have seen quite some things down in Crimea.
Now, Helena, you spent a lot of time with Astrid. You were out there during the fight with the priest. How can you help her to recover from her exhausted and battered conditions?
Well, maybe I'll walk over to her with Dagmar, and we'll both kind of help her out, and I'll say, you know, maybe we should check on that baby, make sure he's doing all right.
I'd get some sweets out of my skirt pocket and offer her some sugar.
Oh, nice. That makes everything better.
Ooh. Yes.
Astrid, you can recover those 2 conditions that you have. So everyone should be back to normal, except I think Helena still has 1. Yes.
Anger is good
Yep.
right now.
Anger will be a good thing. So over dinner, Hugo is very aloof. He's just talking again about music and about his research. And perhaps you hear a nightjar outside, and he mentions, "Oh, that's in the key of C, that nightjar." And he's got this amazing, musical thinking, but it seems like that's all he thinks about. And Montgomery, did you ever get your pipe tobacco?
Oh, well, Teat, I imagine, would bring it to me. Where is he, in fact? I would quite like to have some after dinner.
Teat is serving the dessert course, which is some summer fruit with some heavy cream and a little bit of sugar sprinkled on top. And he brings it around, and oh, sir, begging your pardon, I'm so sorry. I'll retreat to the gentleman's lounge and retrieve your tobacco at once. And he kind of cowers a little bit as he heads out, and then you hear him kind of muttering to himself, like, "Oh, I'm such a terrible servant, horrible servant. I must speak with Father Cornelius and make amends. I must repent."
Oh, okay. Did Dagmar hear that?
Give me an observation roll. You sure did.
File that away. They've got a lot of things to tell these guys when I get a chance, as I'm sure they do with me.
They're dressing down,
It worries me. He's got this guilt complex, and it sounds like it's coming from the priest.
Has religion ever given anyone guilt ever?
No.
Never. Yeah, your list of things you have against Father Cornelius is growing quickly.
Yep. I've seen the worst of them.
Yes, once we're sat at dinner, I would like to. Lord Montgomery will ask Hugo. So, Hugo, you seem, Mr. Hugo, you seem quite obsessed with your research. Where did you say you do your scholarship? What university?
Obsessed, you say? No, I'm just very keen. I'm very interested. Well, I've done much study. I've done most of my study with the university in Uppsala, but I have done other bits of work here and there. But of most recent, all of my study has had to do with the theories regarding the craters outside Kali village. And he goes again almost verbatim into his little discussion, like he's given this discussion many times.
Well, yes, Hugo, I understand this, but where is it that you attend? What university is it exactly?
The university. Well, surely you've heard of the university, the Department of Social and Economic Geography at Uppsala.
Ah, well, I most certainly have not, and I'm not surprised.
Well, you are not from these lands. You are a stranger here, sir.
Oh, no, certainly, but I know that if you truly wish to further your research, if you impress me, perhaps I can set you up with some of my better friends at Oxford University. Yes.
And his eyes light up, and he says, "Well, that would be a whole new audience. I could instruct on the folklore of Osel and the creation of the craters and the music and the tales that are weaved into that music. The songs of shadow and fire should be known throughout the world."
Yes, but if you wish for me to do this for you, then I expect that you shall have to impress me, and I rather would like to know a bit more about why you you wish to call your dear cousin Johan here, and why he's brought us all along. Tell us about your wife, and I wish for some detail if you ever do truly wish to take your research to a good institution like that of Oxford in good old England.
What is there really to say about my wife? She's suffering from melancholy from having this child. It was quite an ordeal, and I do regret to admit that I was not always present and attentive to her. I was often working on my dissertation. It occupied my every waking thought. And now she simply seeks rest and recovery. I haven't the time to tend to her. I must write down these songs and this music.
Well, and what exactly is so special about this music to you?
Well, this music is deep, and it speaks of this land and the creation, and the music. It's a song of great power and of great creation and eventual destruction. And there's much to be learned. The people, the first people in Osel, they are very, very astute, very intelligent, and they were attuned to the vibrations of a different key that we cannot hear with our ears. But they could call upon the trees to grow or to recede. They could call the waters up, the fish to come to the shore where they might scoop them up by hand. They might cause lights in the night sky to appear. They might cause a man to assume the form of beast. And he looks directly at Dagmar.
Okay. Well, I don't know why he's looking at me, because all I'm doing is sneaking cream under the table. But
yeah, you're probably leaning over to the side, and you hear this little. Yeah,
I'm looking down, and I just look up, and I catch his eye, and I say, "You said you were gifted with the instrument. Was it truly a gift, or was it a deal of some sort?"
He gives you an uncomfortable smile. Give me a manipulation roll.
I'm so sweet and innocent. I watched all those sixes go by and then roll off again.
Do you want to push that?
Yeah, I think I will. Because he's made me angry now.
Oh, wow. It was loaned to me, and Lilo at the Tuljak Inn in Kali Village gave me, loaned me this until such time as my dissertation were done. With the baby, I've been too busy to return it, and now that it comes down to it, I think I'd rather keep it. I don't think I could give it up. I'm sure...
I was raised that a deal is a deal.
Well, yes.
Perhaps you need to, or perhaps there would be some other way to pay for it if you decided you wanted to keep it.
I'm sure that I could give money. I could give whatever they ask. I'm sure. I do not understand the entirety of the deal. I was simply taken to a crater. There was a beautiful lake where I was given the instrument and words were spoken. There was a flash in the night sky, and it was as though many stars were coming down, little motes of light, and I gained the ability to play these tunes, and I performed at Tuljak Inn.
It is. It must be wonderful to be able to play like that.
Oh, it is. It is a great gift.
If this instrument were to be causing, if the breaking of the deal were to be causing danger to your wife and child, would you be willing to give it up?
Surely there must be another way, another solution. I
Perhaps we could speak to Lilu and see if we can arrange some sort of extra deal for you, something different.
I don't think I could give this up. But if you could do that, if you could make that arrangement, make this all go away, that I may focus on my music, and that my wife and child will be well, then yes, that is why I brought you here.
Perhaps then we will go and speak to Lilu.
Yes. In the morning, I can have Teet take you to the village.
Be good. And I go back to feeding my dog under the table.
Nice. We can bring you a saucer if you like.
That would be lovely. Thank you so much. What a kind host.
He snaps his fingers. Teet, bring a sausage for the dog. Sorry, not a sausage, a saucer. Bring a saucer for the dog. And a sausage.
A sausage is good too.
And Teet comes in, begging your pardon, and he sets this saucer down with it's got a little sausage that's been sliced up into small bite-sized chunks for Blix. And he pets Blix a few times, and you see this look of genuine love on his face as he sees this animal. And you can tell that perhaps there's a kinship, that maybe Teet feels kind of like a dog in this house, the way he's treated and called.
Okay, I recognize that.
Yep, absolutely.
Very much. Okay.
Teet, perhaps you would like to help me retire with some port and cigars. I think I've had all I wish for this dinner. Why don't you, kind Sir Hugo?
I'm afraid we haven't any port, sir.
No port? Well, the service of your hall is somewhat lacking of late, Mr. Hugo. A host without any port.
I'm so sorry, sir. Let me get our finest wine. I hope it will do. And as he goes in the room, I must speak with Father Cornelius. I am filled with sin. I am bereft of goodness. And then you hear the pop of the cork, and he brings out the glass poured into a decanter, or the wines poured into a decanter with several glasses. And if you would like to retire to the drawing room, you may enjoy this wine and cigars. And ladies, you're welcome to take your wine in here. The cigar smoke may be too strong for your delicate senses.
Yeah, we're fine.
I snicker to myself, having grown up. Yeah. We all light up cigarettes when they leave, yeah.
You head into the drawing room for wine and cigars and conversation. And as you sit down, he comes in with his instrument and immediately begins to play.
Astrid loudly is like, oh god.
It's the same song again. It's like he knows one song. And you notice that as he plays this, he pauses periodically and makes annotations. I've almost got it. I've almost got the song.
Did he write this song or learn it from Leela?
Oh, she did not teach me this song. I have learned this song, well, with help, but...
with help from who, if you don't mind my asking?
Actually, I do mind. Until the song is finished, I don't think I should say. But you see him kind of holding the lute or the dulcimer very lovingly.
I see.
So he's in the room with us ladies at the moment, or he hasn't gone to drink?
Yes, yep. He's come in to serenade you with a song and just check on you before he goes in with the gentleman. And Aino comes down and tells you that your rooms are ready whenever you are ready to retire. And she has drawn hot baths for everyone.
I'm hoping that when he leaves, I can just let the other ladies know what I learnt from Aino and what I suspect is happening to Teet via
Let me move us all kind of
the priest.
Here. Does you guys have anything else to say to Hugo before he leaves and goes to the drawing room?
Well, I did want to know how he learned that song.
He just kind of pats the dulcimer and says, "When the song's complete, I will tell you where it came from, but the inspiration is all around us. The land, the sky, the trees, the
From
beasts."
the magic water, perhaps?
And you see him grin a little bit. "Yes, we are very blessed here."
What will happen when the song is done?
I hope, start another song. But I intend to go to the crater where this was gifted to me and to play it. And to make a permanent change upon Osel.
What do you mean by permanent change?
It will be for the best, in the best interest of all. Permanent change
Now you're starting
for
to sound
good.
like the priest.
Sorry, what was that, Alex?
Oh, I said now you're starting to sound like the priest.
Right? Yeah, you notice that, man, like everyone here is psychopaths.
Yeah.
Now, if you will excuse me, I shouldn't keep the others waiting. They'll drink up the best of my wine if I'm not careful. Do you ladies need anything else, or may I bid you a good evening?
Blix and I are fine. He's had his sausage.
Nice. He stops the song, gets up, bids you all a good night,
Thank goodness.
God.
walks into the next room, and then you hear immediately the song starting up again.
Under cover of that song, I'm going to say to the others, I feel perhaps that at least some of the folk of Oso are Vaesen, and this is, the child is being punished because he didn't give back the instrument when he was supposed to. When he finished his dissertation, he should have given it back. And it's obvious that it's having some sort of terrible effect upon him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully he's
But
not like this normally.
I know. So the child bit my finger. The child is too big and heavy. The child can stand up. The wet nurse saw that his shadow was the shadow of a beast when he stood at the window, and he's 3 months old. She says that he can be fixed via vengeance of, I don't know if it's enough to give back the instrument, but I feel like it is about this, but I don't know why he doesn't want to give it back.
Astrid, when you hear Dagmar mention that shadow, this is going to be a fear test for you. You can roll either logic or empathy.
Let's see.
Are you trying to tell yourself it's not the same, or are you trying to, and that would be logic, or empathy is to try and force yourself to see past your own fears. I'm playing into your dark secret.
Yes. I think she'll try to reason that it's not the same and use logic.
Perfect. I need one success here. Ooh.
Oh,
Do you want to push
no.
that?
Yeah. Come on, Astrid.
Oh,
No.
not fair.
So you are going to have a little bout of terror. You're going to take one mental condition.
Oh boy, okay. Frightened.
And
Makes sense.
What is your bout of terror? What do you do when you hear about this shadow that looks like a beast?
Ooh. Are there in the room, are there like books?
Yes.
I think she's just gonna start kind of like opening books and flipping to random pages and like trying to see if she can find anything that would like help her kind of like understand. So she's gonna just like basically like tornado through the room and like make it a mess.
And you see, as you pull out a book, your hands are trembling. But you force yourself into the books to try and hide from the memories and the thoughts that are pervasive at the moment. Helena, when you hear what Dagmar is talking about this baby, what comes to mind? What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking maybe this child could be a Vaesen.
Do you want to do a learning roll? Maybe you're looking through the books as well, or you recall something.
Yes.
And have you used your advantage yet?
I used my advantage,
Okay.
yeah, but I will use
Your books?
my book collection for learning.
Perfect. Do you push that?
Yes.
You take a condition. You can't put your finger on what it might be, but you think maybe it would be best to go to the source. To either watch the baby tonight, or perhaps go to Kali Village and find out what happened with Hugo when he was there.
Well, I think it would be easier right now to go check on the baby and see if there's anything like obviously supernatural about it.
Perfect.
Rather than walk to the village right now.
Do you talk to the others about going to check on the baby?
Yeah, I'll tell the other people that are in the room with me. So Astrid and Dagmar.
So we could take turns and all sleep as well.
Gentlemen, anything occurs during your conversation with Hugo, or is it just kind of talking over old war stories and Hugo just prattling on and on about the same thing over and over again?
I think Lord Montgomery will retire early and leave Johan to speak with his cousin. He'll have Teet take him to his room. And Teet, don't forget that I want a whiskey in the morning with a cigar, and I like my slippers warmed.
Yes, Mr. Churchill. I mean, Lord Montgomery. And he, would you like your slippers preheated as well? I can do that for you.
Yes, that's all well and good. Now, see me off to bed. I am very tired. I had a very exciting day today, you know.
It is good to be a butler, and it's been in my family for generations. My father's father was a gentleman's gentleman, and I intend to carry on the tradition.
Ah, you're a good lad. Now, see me off to bed, and I'll make sure there's in it something in it for you too, and I'll find a few more of those strange Swedish dollars to give him.
We the scene cuts to you in bed, and Teet's like tucking you in, like all around your body, getting it all nice and cozy, and he's humming a song to you while he's brushing his hand over your eyes to get your eyes to close, and try to do everything he can to earn that tip. And as he gets up, a little tear in the corner of his eye, like, finally, a gentleman. He might be a fool, but he's still a gentleman. And Teet leaves very quietly and feels as though he has finally achieved something worthwhile. Johan, you and your cousin are together. Do you speak of anything other than the mundane?
Yeah, I think it's mostly just mundanity. Johan's probably pretty unnerved, and I don't think he thinks he's going to get anything out of.
Anything
his
you
fine
ask, you
cousin.
could ask about the weather, and within 2 sentences, he's back to talking about music and folklore and the people of Osul and his studies and his research. And he offers to provide you with a handwritten copy of his dissertation. Perhaps you'd like to look it over, a little light reading before bed. And he gives you this, 150-page dissertation.
Yeah, that's really, really concerning.
He offers to show you to your room as well, and tells you that Teet will have the carriage ready to go after breakfast and to get a good night's sleep. And that he will try to keep the sound down during the night, but he needs to rehearse the song a few more times before he can finally fall asleep. And you go up to bed and you hear him go back downstairs, and then kind of through those stone walls you hear that song start up again. And it's that earworm is going to be in your head for like 3 days now of that song. The ladies, you are in the room and you are keeping track of the baby. And the baby is sleeping very, very gently. And the moonlight is shining through the window. And Dagmar, you happen to be... It's your turn to stay up, and you see that Helena and Astrid have quietly dozed off, and you're to wake them in probably another 30 minutes or so that you may have a turn at sleeping. But as you are looking, you see the moonlight shining through the window. The window and the moonlight quivers, and the child's features become twisted. All of a sudden, the child has dark eyebrows, marked facial features, budding horns protruding from his hairline. He is still calm, playing happily with his long tail in the moonlight. Dagmar, give me an empathy or a logic roll to try and withstand this fear as you see this child in the true light.
An empathy...
Or logic.
Which one was it?
Empathy
An empathy or
logic.
logic? Definitely empathy. So.
Do you want to push that?
Yes, I will be frightened.
So you will have a bout of terror. What is your response to seeing this? And as soon as a cloud begins to drift over the moon, you see the child sit back down, and it's a young human boy.
I've grabbed up Blix and I've scrambled back across the floor, and I actually kind of trip over the legs of Astrid or Helena who are sort of sleeping curled up against the wall or something, and I fall over them both, and I'm like, whoa!
And Blix,
that's not normal.
Blix is growling and snarling,
Yes.
and
I didn't want him to bite the child.
Yeah, if you put him down, he would probably run and bite the child.
Yes, so I fall over and I still hang on to him.
You wake up the other women, Helena and Astrid. They look over and they just see Edward sitting in bed, sitting peacefully.
Dagmar, what's wrong?
He just turned into, like, he had a tail, he was playing with his tail, he had horns, and then the next time I looked he was okay again, but he looked monstrous, like a monstrous baby.
When you hear this, Helena, give me a learning roll. Oh wow.
Ooh.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like Vaesen. This is not normal, but you can't quite place what it might be. Do you go back to sleep, or are you up for the night now?
Yeah, I'll stay awake.
You start poring over your books. Astrid, what about you?
Well, based on her conversation with the priest before in the prep time, that doesn't sound like possession, so...
No, this does not look like possession, does not sound like possession. This sounds like Vaesen.
Yes, so I think she's fine with ruling that one out. Maybe she'll probably help Helena, look over, books and try to figure out, what is happening.
Give me a learning roll. And add a bonus die as the two of you are working together.
Excellent. We can learn. Let's see here. Learning, bonus dice. 1. Do I use the bookworm skill too?
Yes.
Cool.
Aha. It takes you some time, but you find the answer you're seeking. The things you've seen and heard, this sounds like old folk tales about trolls and changelings. That trolls often exchanged favors and tools with humans, and there have been cases where trolls have snatched a baby from its cradle and left a changeling in its stead. And to get a stolen human baby back from the trolls, they must be appeased in some way. This is not a human child. This is a troll.
So I'm
Ashley.
thinking, yeah, we maybe need to return the dulcimer.
Yeah, I think Astrid will just kind of stand up, tell the other women the information, and then be like, we need to get that dulcimer from him tonight.
The music has stopped, and you hear footsteps out in the hallway, and a door close. And after a time, you hear soft snores. It sounds as though Hugo is asleep. Now, were Johan and Montgomery, were you guys actually sleeping, or had you any plans to do anything during the night? Or do the women go and rouse Johan or Montgomery?
I know which rooms they had, right?
Yes, you do. I know would have showed you all the rooms.
I'm shivering and shaking. I've still got Blix under my arm, and I go and tap shakily on the various doors to wake them up. Quickly, you're needed.
Johan would wake up without a roll. That would be, you are alert in an instant. Your military training kicks in. Montgomery, give me an observation roll.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You're an old man. You get up 3 times a night to urinate, and it just happens to be about that time. And so as you're getting up and looking for the bedpan, you hear a little rap on the door. And you're in your long john underwear with the barn door in the back and flap wide open. Do you open the door?
I will retrieve my dressing gown and then, of course, see who it is that is here at such an hour.
And you see Dagmar.
Dagmar. Yeah, she's white as a ghost. Her eyes are huge, and she's like, "We've got to get the instrument back to the Vaesen. We've got to do it now. We can't wait till tomorrow."
Give me one moment, dear Dagmar, and I will be ready to go. And then Lord Montgomery will begin to perhaps throw on his slippers and get ready for.
Saber.
Yes.
Slippers and saber.
Do you brace
Follow
yourself with a swig from your flask?
Oh, most certainly. In fact, if there's a bottle left in the room, I'll make sure to refill it and grab my officer's revolver, as any good officer would.
You go out in the hallway and you see Johan is already there, along with Astrid and Helena. How do you go about stealing this dulcimer?
Anyone good at picking locks?
We can try his door first. I have a 5 for stealth. Does anybody do better than that?
Oh, no.
Do we think he put it in the case, or that he's like sleeping with it?
I'm guessing he wouldn't let go of it for a second. But we did hear him put it away, didn't we?
You did not.
Okay.
You just heard the music stop.
Can I try to just gently, ever so carefully, just turn the doorknob and see if the door's locked?
Yeah, give me that stealth roll.
Okay.
Go, Dagmar.
Come on, Dagmar.
Oof.
Hands
No,
shaking.
Do you push it?
I'll push it. Yeah, I haven't slept very well, so. Yes.
Got it.
Okay.
The door squeaks gently, and you pause and then ease it open, and you see in the moonlight through the window, casting a light upon the bed, you see the form of Hugo, and he's lying on his side, and you see under the blankets there is a bundle that he's holding. It's under his arms, like one might cradle a lover.
I push the door fully open and just point towards the bed to the others.
There is about a 10 feet, 3 meter walk across the hardwood floor to get to his bed. You know that in this old house, many of the floors squeak. You heard him
Are we
walking down the
finessing
hallway.
Are we going to finesse it, or are we just going to jump him?
Yeah, that's the
Not
question.
saying that to the others. I guess we're all saying it with our eyebrows, like.
Yeah,
Are you making a
silently
fist
just
and, like punching it into your open hand, like let's beat him? Or are you going to try and
Well,
sneak it out
perhaps
of there?
Lord Montgomery could create a diversion. He will step into the room and say, "Ah, is this the loo? I seem to have lost my glasses. Are you there, Teat? Can you show me? Can you light a candle? I
Lend
can't
us
see
a
where I'm
hand."
going."
Is that what
And if
you want to do? Do you want to wake him up?
Yes, he will try and get Hugo to perhaps awake with a fright and hopefully show him the way to the actual loo.
Is everyone else going to hide?
yes.
I need just a group stealth roll. So one person can roll with one bonus die. Dagmar might still be the best. to do that.
You think?
Okay, alright, a bonus die. I kind of grab everybody and shove them back into the shadowed corners as best I can.
Oh no. You want to push that one?
Yeah, I'll push it. Is that?
Oh, God.
Woo!
Yes. Phew. I just kind of get everybody round behind the washstand or something. We just stand really quietly in the corner.
Hugo gets up, and Montgomery, you see that as he crawls out of bed, the bundle stays in the bed. And he's like, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Teat should have showed you. There's a pan under your bed." And he reaches under and slides out his pan. Have you looked under your bed?
Well, I'm a very old man, and I seem to have misplaced my spectacles. Perhaps you could take me to my room and show me, as a good host.
Well,
yes?
I'm not going to give you a hand in the way that you're saying.
Oh.
You'll have to do the work yourself, sir.
Oh, yes.
I can fetch Teat. He always lends a hand.
Don't bother the help at this hour. Be a good host and show me. You remember my promise about those Oxford connections, do you?
Ooh, give me a manipulation roll with a bonus die. And if you've not used your advantage, do you want to use your advantage here?
Yes,
Isn't it
I
on
will.
Manipulation?
Yes, it is. So that'll give me 2 bonus die.
Oh, you get 2 for the advantage plus 1 for the situational bonus die. Calling up the Oxford connection. Wow. Yes, of course. And he begins to head down the hallway towards your room. And he gets into your room, and Dagmar, you see him disappear into Montgomery's room. You have but a brief moment.
I'd grab it up.
Okay, are you being quiet?
No, because I'm taking advantage of the fact that he's left the room, and I'm sure Montgomery is making so much noise.
Let me give him an observation roll. And I'm going to give him a penalty die.
Lord Montgomery will very loudly rattle on about his war stories while Hugo is eating him.
He does not hear Dagmar sneak in. And as you sneak in, you see that the dulcimer is in a soft velvet bag.
Good. I wasn't sure I wanted to touch it, so that's excellent.
Do you just scoop it up and go? Do you...
I scoop it up, I do more eyebrows at the others, and we bolt.
Should we replace it with something so he doesn't know it's gone, or just get out of there?
Give me an
Can we look
observation
around and
roll.
see who's got the best observation?
What is Johan?
Not Johan.
Not Johan.
Not
He's
me.
got he's 2.
Mine is
At a
0.
5.
Oh, it might be Dagmar.
I look
then.
around. I look around.
Give me that observation roll. Nice.
Yes.
There is a suitcase that looks roughly the same size as this dulcimer. It's kind of the wrong shape, but it's similar in size. And if he's tired and it's late and dark, he may not notice.
Okay.
Do you take the
pull the
dulcimer
blankets
out of the
back
bag,
over it.
or do you just put it under the blankets?
I actually hand it to Johan as soon as I've got it, and kind of make sort of shoving motions to everybody to get everybody to go.
Nice. You put the little suitcase in the bed and then quickly slip out. As you make it back to maybe the Johan's room is probably close by. As you make it into Johan's room, you can hear Hugo walking down the hallway. And if there's anything else you need, Lord Montgomery, please don't hesitate to ask Teat in the morning. And then he kind of chuckles and heads back into his room, and you hear the door shut, and you hear him take off his robe, and then you hear the gentle movement of springs as he climbs into his bed, and it grows quiet. Let me give him another roll.
Montgomery so he knows where we are.
Perfect. Montgomery, you poke your head out and see the others waving at you. Oh, okay, Hugo does not notice. You hear the gentle snores coming from his room a few moments later. What do you do
From
now?
my tour of the town, as we, learning, do I know where we would find Lilu?
You know it would be in Kali Village, and one of you did some research. I think you have the handout, or maybe you just saw the map. Let me...
Yeah,
Make
so
the
it's
map.
not in the town where we are, it's somewhere nearby.
Right. So let me pull
Okay.
up the map here. Let's see. So you can see Arensberg, and then roughly 20 kilometers away is Kali Village. Kind of a little bit inland from Arensberg.
Okay,
You
we can't just
travel
trot
that
down
by
the
foot,
road.
but it would be faster by carriage. But
Do we trust Teat?
There is a road that would take you there. Do you trust Teat?
Maybe if he had a job offer.
Do you go and wake him up? Does Montgomery?
I do let everyone know that I think that he is strongly in the grip of Cornelius. So I do worry that he may betray us in some way because of his connection and sense of guilt around that.
I mean,
Perhaps
we
we go harness the horses up ourselves.
Yeah, we could just take the carriage.
Now Montgomery was in the cavalry. He would know his way around a horse. Not
I think
like
Teat is a good
veterinarian,
man.
You
I
know
think
how to-
Teat is a good man, but I do think that he may be in the grip of the priest, so perhaps we don't trust him at the moment.
Teat definitely seems to have taken a liking to Montgomery. If you wanted to try and get Teat on your side, that might be the best angle. Teat
Could use the angle that we care for his master and we need to save him from a bewitchment or something.
Exactly. That is probably your best way. And Teat is from this area. He likely knows the folklore of the trolls, but probably grew up thinking it was just folklore. It was myth, it wasn't real. But with the sight, you know these things are real. And so maybe you can bring Teat to his senses and maybe make him see what's really going on. That may help to assuage his feelings of guilt and maybe give him a chance to redeem himself in his own eyes by helping Hugo and Edward and Agnes. If you want to do that. Or Montgomery would be fully capable of getting the carriage ready to go.
Yes.
Does mean we're stealing, though, whereas
Just
if we
like
take
it,
two...
just like it was 30 years ago, I remember how to work a carriage. I'm sure I can figure it out.
There's not been many advances over 30 years in carriage craft. How do you want to get to Kali Village this late at night?
Dagmar is going to trust in the grown-ups on this one.
Johan,
I mean,
this is your family member. You've already stolen the dulcimer from him, albeit likely for his own good. Would you have any qualms about stealing his carriage? Or would you want to get the help?
He's clearly under the grips of something supernatural, like, obviously. I don't think he has any qualms at all. We're helping him, if anything.
What were you saying, Alex, before I interrupted you?
Yeah, I was saying I feel like we don't really have a lot of time to get this done,
Right.
and the less people we involve, the better. So we're not if we bring it back, we're not really stealing it,
Yeah, you are on an
you
island. It's not like you're getting this carriage off the island.
Yeah, we'll bring it back once we're done.
And it would be
We could leave a
much
note.
faster and far safer to take the carriage than it would be to go on foot at night to
Mhm.
Kali
Think-
Village.
Sir Montgomery might die if we asked him to run that far.
Right?
Well, he is in his slippers, so not sure it'll go too well.
All right.
To the stable?
Yeah.
I scribble a note and leave it in the centre hall. Something about... We feel there is a mystery around the hollows, and we are going to look at it by moonlight, or something like that.
Nice. Montgomery, give me a vigilance roll as you make sure that the carriage is correctly prepared, the horses are put on. It's late, you're tired, you think you remember how to do it, but...
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe this strap went here, and something like that.
As far as you know, you've got it right. It turns out you've got the horses in reverse, but either way, you will get there. He reassures everyone that, I've done this many a times. Please, climb aboard. Who will be driving the carriage? Will that be Montgomery?
Yeah, that seems like the reasonable one.
Yeah.
Montgomery,
Especially-
you climb up onto that buckboard seat in your robe and slippers. Maybe you light up your pipe. Probably put on your little glasses. You look up at the night sky, maybe lick a finger to see which way the wind is blowing, and then you head off into the night as quietly as possible. You arrive...
So that's 20 miles, did you say?
Yes, yep, 20 miles.
Could I have kind of cuddled up to Helena and Astrid and spoken to them of my fears and perhaps recover a little bit? I'm currently exhausted, battered, angry, and frightened, so...
Yes, and you can... This is a good time to use your memento as well. So you probably pull out your father's locket with a picture of...
I pull out my father's locker and I look at the little miniature painting of my mother. And I remember how brave they were and how I could see that they fought the werewolf before they died. And that I'm that brave as well.
And as you speak with the others, you begin to feel better about the situation, about everything that has gone on. Astrid and Helena, how do you try to calm Dagmar?
Astrid might just do kind of like combing the hair with the fingers, just very gently.
Aw.
Yeah.
Lovely.
That will recover 2 from Astrid's help, plus 2 for using your memento. And you can only use your memento once per session. So that is your use. Does anyone else need to recover any... Helena, you've got 2 conditions. Do you want to use your memento?
Sure, yeah.
And how do you use that?
So I'll take out my grandfather's pen and I'll just look at it and recall all the times where I was researching Vaesen for my book and I used this pen, and then I'll recall when my grandfather first gave it to me to help me with my dream of becoming a writer.
Excellent. You can recover 2 conditions with your memento. The dawn has risen when you arrive in Kali village, and you find yourselves in the river. Let me move you off of the river here.
Oh.
Near the Tuljak Inn, the lovely windmill. You can already see that this village is Kali is a group of 9 craters in the area that makes up Kali village. And there's long been different theories about the origin of these craters. You have learned extensively from Hugo that he believes it to be from meteorites that have struck the ground. And this village looks ordinary, with a dozen houses lining a single road. There are cattle everywhere, grazing between the houses, and on the outskirts of the village is a smithy. And when you arrive, you see an inn. This inn is located in the old windmill by a small stream on the edge of the village, near the 9 craters. And when you arrive at the inn and step through the door, you are met by a warm and boisterous atmosphere. It smells pleasantly of freshly baked bread, beer, and the strong, pungent smell of sauerkraut. There are already folk gathered around, even at this early hour, in booths with wooden benches and tables along the walls. The locals are enjoying good food and the award-winning beer. There are piglets, chickens, and baby goats that walk freely between the tables. A group of musicians are just finishing their performance and sitting down to have some mashed potatoes with a sauce made of smoked pork, milk, and flour. You find an open table and sit down, and soon a woman shows up and welcomes you to her inn. And let me see if I've got a... There we go. Let me post a picture. And she greets you and says, "Hello, my name is Lilo Sisalak. This is my inn. Welcome. We are but simple folk, and we are glad to have you in our village. We do not get many of your kind here. And Dagmar, give me a vigilance roll."
Been thinking about my talent too, like I once per mystery I can know somebody, so I'm wondering if there's somebody in this tavern who's perhaps a barmaid or something who used to be in Sweden that I might have known.
You would,
So,
you would see a person at the bar, and you know that they are Indrek, and Indrek was a traveling merchant, and you see Indrek here. You recognize them, this merchant, and when you look at Indrek and at Lilo, give me that vigilance roll. Do you want to push that?
No, I don't. Oh, okay, yeah, I'll go hopeless. I'm not, because I'm really bad at vigilance, so I feel pretty hopeless. Nope.
Because you know Indrek, the reason you become hopeless is that you see a familiar face here, of all places. And as Lilo walks away, Indrek stands to walk towards you, and you see just a glimpse of a tail between Indrek's legs as he walks over to speak to you. And at first you blink it away, thinking it must just be exhaustion. But then Indrek smiles and sits down and says, "Dagmar, I did not expect to see you here. How did you
Then
know?
I did not expect to see you here.
Did you know that this was my hometown?"
No, I didn't. I only remembered you from the city. It's nice to see a friendly face, though, and I kind of smile hopefully at him.
Friendly indeed. How can I help you? Surely you're here for a purpose. Your kind do not typically come to places like this.
I'm here attending to my ladies, but I would say my kind? Do you mean street children?
Not necessarily. I mean humans.
We have a mission in this place that involves something to the benefit of the people here. We do not come meaning harm. We hope that we will return something that was taken.
Give me an inspiration roll.
Ooh.
Nice.
Holy.
He smiles, and you see now that his teeth are triangular, almost like shark's teeth. And he smiles, and it's not a frightful smile, but almost a curious, comical look to his teeth. And then he closes his mouth and smiles again, and he's got perfectly straight human teeth. And he says, "A bargain, a deal. You'll want to speak to Lilo. She
I would,
knows
but
the
would you
coming soon.
perhaps...
Let me
Would you
be your
perhaps give a
intermediary."
kind... Yes, I would very much appreciate that, for we come with good intentions.
He gets up and leaves his beer at the table and walks over towards where Lilo went, over near the bar. You get a smell from the beer, and it smells a little different. It smells different from other beer that maybe you've smelled. It still kind of has that almost acrid, pungent smell, but it smells very clean and pure. And
So the others are already with Lilu, are they?
so this is Lilo's inn, and she is the proprietress here, and she comes over with Indrek. He had left his beer on the table, but he
cool.
swiftly returns, and Indrek and Lilo come over, and she says, "Indrek tells me you have information for me. Please
I
speak
wave
up."
frantically at the others. I am but a lady's maid, but I do believe that my employers here have something that will be much to your advantage.
First, let me put you at ease. We have no concept of employers or servants here. We serve one and all. We all serve each other. You are my servant, and I am yours. Now that we are
I love
equals-
that.
Yes, let us speak. What information do you have for me?
The others come up.
Yes, the others approach,
Good.
seeing you talk to Lilo.
I look at the others.
No, we have recovered the... I totally forgot. What is the instrument called again?
The dulcimer?
Yes. Are you missing a dulcimer, perhaps?
Yes, in fact, one of your kind, and she sniffs the air and looks right at Johan. Yes, one of your kind indeed. I smell his blood on you, sir. Hugo.
Yes, well, righty wrongs.
Hugo made a bargain. Great talent and knowledge and the gift of song. But he did not keep his end of the bargain. He must return the dulcimer at Kali Lake, and then we will return what belongs to him. I assure you, little Edward is quite safe, and would grow up here quite welcomely. But a deal is a deal, and he did not keep his end.
He must take it, or we could take it.
Do you have the dulcimer with you?
Yes.
As long as our property is returned, his will be returned as well. I will be grateful, for it is a wearying journey every night for me to crawl into his yard, climb up the wall, up the side of the building, and peer into the window. Once or twice I have come and cradled that baby to reassure it, but I always leave before the servants awaken at the house.
To Sam's Dagmar, who has not had a lot of hugging as a child once her parents were gone.
And Astrid, this would explain the soil that you have seen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the dulcimer is not returned before midnight on the summer solstice, which is this very night, then the baby will be ours, and Hugo may raise that troll as his own. You reap
Then we
what
must
you
go.
sow. I'm sorry.
There's a good woman who's been locked away, who is not to blame for any of this. So, in her name, we will travel. But we need. How long have we got till midnight? That's Tina above table.
You've got probably 12 hours.
Morning now, right?
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, probably 15 hours.
Good.
She says, it was I who gave Hugo the dulcimer. I really wanted him to record the songs and stories of our people. I saw in him an artist beyond the ambitious academic, and initially it all went very well. His performances here at the inn attracted lots of visitors. But once he had finished his dissertation, it became clear he had forgotten his promise to return the dulcimer. Suddenly there's fire in Lilo's eyes. She rises from her chair and turns her back to you. How dare he break our agreement? If he intends to rob our people of our songs, as well as the dulcimer, we will keep his dearest possession, his flesh and blood, in return. And the exchange must happen at the same place where the agreement was made, Kali Lake, at midnight tonight.
I feel that perhaps his wits were not as strong as you might have expected, and to have the dulcimer and to have music at once in his life may perhaps have affected him more strongly than you knew it would.
He only knows one song.
He does.
Has he mastered that song?
No.
If he masters that song before midnight tonight, then there can be no exchange.
Okay.
No, I don't think he can, because he doesn't have it anymore. We
Oh, that's
stole
true.
it.
Yeah.
Just tapping it out on the table.
You did leave a note. You didn't say where you were going.
Yes, we did. I said
did?
we were.
Yeah.
I said we were. That was my mistake. I said we were heading for where we are now heading. So
he's probably woken up.
Yeah.
He would probably go and borrow a horse and carriage. You probably have an hour or so before he arrives.
So how long is it going to take us to get there?
To get to the lake?
Yeah.
She says about an hour to the lake.
Okay. Let's go. Let's go.
Time to go.
Let's go to the lake.
Johan, we might have to knock out your cousin for a minute.
Yeah. Just some slight restraint.
Yeah.
Grab all these tokens. Perfect. You arrive at the lake, and already you can see that a dense mist has risen up, and you can see across the lake there are fires burning. And Lilo says there will be a great celebration tonight, for either we will have our dulcimer back, or we will have a human child for our own purposes. We will raise the child well, but it shall be raised in the manner of trolls, and it will forget its human parents in time. And woe unto the humans who must raise that trollkin, for it will eat them out of house and home if it does not eat them first.
I must say, toddler tantrums by a troll child could be quite...
Could be significantly worse. How do you want to do this? How do you want to do this exchange? Do you... When Hugo arrives, you guys have a plan?
Is there like a ritual to exchange, or is it as simple as just handing it to her?
Is the lake going to put her hand up for it?
She says, it can be handed to me over where the fires are burning. That is where he swore the oath. You will see troll magic at work, and then he may take his child. He will not be welcome back in our village, and he will lose the gift of song and music.
Oh, great.
Thank goodness.
What a relief. All right. Is there a road around the lake, or do we have to kind of make our way around the edge?
We trolls do not need roads. I will show you the safe path. And Lilo will lead you around the lake. And as you travel, you notice that the animals of the woods form almost a procession to watch as you pass. You see deer and birds and squirrels and beavers and skunks and other creatures that come surprisingly near to Lilo, and she interacts with them as though she is one of them, and they accept her and are not fearful of her. And with you in her company, they are not fearful of you either. Like birds come and land upon Dagmar's shoulder and sing
I
sweetly.
wouldn't suggest it, because I've got Blix. I've got Blix under my arm again. He wants to chase them all.
Yeah. Blix is very animated at seeing all of this game right here. But the birds have brought you something. You see a little branch on your shoulder, a small twig with a little bud that it would have used to build a nest, but it has come and made an offering, a gift to you. And you see a squirrel scamper up to Lord Montgomery and deposit an acorn in his path. And a deer comes up to Johan, and in its antlers you can see there's a small bough of berries, and it lowers its head, willingly allowing you to take those berries from its head. And bees come and buzz around Helena, and these bees land upon her with a gift of pollen upon her shoulder. Right? It's a Disney movie. And Astrid, nobody cares about Astrid. No, I'm teasing. Astrid, a fish actually swims up to the shore, and it squirms up onto the land, thrashing about, kicking itself back into the water, and deposits a small gemstone on the ground at your feet.
Oh.
They have brought you
thanks,
gifts, and they have welcomed you to this place. As you head around to the other side, when you arrive, you hear a commotion coming from the place where you were, and it's Hugo, and he's shouting, "Thieves! Thieves!" And he's pointing at you across the lake, and he begins to run, and you see the wildlife just bolt and scatter away from him, and some of the townspeople from Kali village are following, and they're keeping their distance, and they're not threatening him, but it's almost like they're herding him towards where you are.
Look at Johan and say, "He's your cousin."
Mm-hmm.
Oh goodness. Well, I mean, yeah, okay. I don't know if we're going to be doing any negotiations here.
Hugo says, "Cousin, someone has stolen what belongs to me. I would have it back. I did not bring you here to steal from me, but to help me. This is not help. I was not able to play the song this morning, and it's driving me mad. Tell me, cousin, where is my dulcimer?
Well, Hugo, you are a very innocent man. I find it hard to believe you can't have noticed quite how poorly things have been going for your family recently. Your attentions have been distracted by this thing, which I imagine you are immediately going to return to in discussion, so I will tell you that we have it. Yes.
Ooh, give me a manipulation roll.
Ooh, yes, he's really good at this.
Oh no.
Oh gosh. Do you want to push that?
No.
He says, you stole it from me? I thought it might have been that bumbling old fool you brought with you. Or perhaps those girls who I knows had her way speaking with them, talking her nonsense about runes and protections and... Oh, I could tell you things about this place that would make your blood run cold.
I know cares more for your wife and child than you do, sir.
She doesn't care for the music, and it's the song. It's the song that's important.
None of us care for the music.
He looks like you just stabbed his mother. What? How? Have you not heard the refrain, the chorus?
We've heard it.
Oh, but it's so... And he begins to hum that melody.
Oh boy.
No. I send Blix to bite his ankle. I don't want him to have mastered it or we're stuffed.
Yeah, you see a look on his face like, I know the ending. And as he begins to hum that song, give me a close combat roll with Blix.
Oh no, don't let him finish the song.
Your own finish.
And you see as he sings it, as he moves his hands as though he's playing the instrument, streaks of light come off of his hands as though the magic is finally answering the spell.
Oh boy.
And Dagmar, how do you break his performance?
I just drop Blix down on the ground and I go, get him! Sick him! And I send him in to bite him, and then I go and try to actually, while he's got his ankle, I try to push him over. I don't want to hurt him particularly beside the tooth marks, but I just want to make sure he stops making the noise.
You succeed. The sound stops and he hits the ground, and that light that had been growing around him begins to fade, almost like you were sprinkling glitter. And he looks and says, No, I had it right here. And he's touching his head. I must write it down quickly. Pen, paper, something. And he begins to scrabble in the dirt, musical notation.
I sit on him.
Nice. Lilo walks over and says, Hugo, tonight we celebrate the memory of the falling star that brought fire back to us. We will sing from dusk till dawn on this, the shortest of nights. You are welcome here, Hugo. Have you come to honor the agreement we made? And Hugo looks absolutely wounded and hurt, and he looks at Johan. Cousin, help me. I'm your blood. What do you do, Johan?
I believe a lot of this is for your own good. I hope you will. I hope you will agree when this is over.
Give me a roll. Give me vigilance. Man, you want to push that?
Yeah, let's try it. Ooh.
Go ahead and take a condition. He looks defeated, and says, "If this takes place tonight, you and I are no longer kin. You have stolen something from me that is of inestimable worth. You have turned your back on family." And you sense that there is something to him. He is not in his right mind. You see a look in his eye that you have seen before in the military. You've seen this look on people that have had too much trauma, too much of everything, and have stretched themselves beyond their breaking point. Montgomery, you can see that Johan is struggling with Hugo. What do you do?
Well, Montgomery, being so insulted, will...
And you're still in your slippers and
yes, but I'm still dignified, of course. Being
the
called
barn
a bumbling
door
old
in your
fool.
long johns is open, but you're still dignified.
Yes, I will tell him, Hugo, once word gets out about how I've been treated as your guest, you can consider yourself through at the university. I'll see that you are dismissed, and that your titles are stripped, and your land gone. You should seriously consider this course of action, as I am a very powerful man, and I will...
Give me a manipulation roll. With a bonus die, because you're threatening his academic future. Ooh, by the skin of your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "If I agree to this, you must promise me a seat at the table at Oxford. I must at least present a song of shadow and fire to the people at Oxford. They must hear it." And Lilo says, "This is acceptable, but they cannot hear the song. But they can hear your research." And he shakes his head and agrees. Who has the dulcimer?
I think Johan.
I gave it. Yeah, I gave it to Johan.
Johan,
Oh, you did, didn't you? Yeah, he does.
you produce the dulcimer, and Hugo nearly leaps at you to get it. Astrid, you're in the way, and you see Hugo get up to lunge for that dulcimer. What do you do?
I think she's just gonna kind of try to intercept him.
Okay, give me either force or close combat if you're going to sock him. Force
Close
if you're
combat.
just trying to tackle him. All right.
Why not? Just sock him a little bit. Yes,
Hit
finally.
him right on the chin, and he drops like a sack of wheat. Lands on his backside and hits the ground, and he's holding his lip, which is bleeding. "You hit me." And you see that daze he was in is gone. It's almost as though whatever spell he had been under has snapped.
Astrid is just like, ugh, men are so dramatic.
You wait until the crowds begin to build. The songs begin around 5 o'clock that evening, and for hours and hours different songs are played, and you are overjoyed to find out it's not the song that Hugo has been playing incessantly. They know other songs, and these songs fill you with inspiration and fill you with peace. And in fact, you may recover all of your conditions. All your conditions will be recovered. You see a kindly looking troll woman in human form but with a tail. She comes up and she's carrying a young child, a 3-month-old baby. And she looks at Lilo, and Lilo looks at Hugo, and Lilo says, "Hugo, do you return what you have taken in exchange for your child?" And Hugo looks at his baby, and you see Now that the spell is broken, you see a look of pure love on his face. And all thoughts of music and all thoughts of that dulcimer are gone. And he takes his child in his arms and looks at him for probably the first time, because he's been under this spell the entire 3 months that his baby has been born. As he holds little Edward, you see tears streaming down his face, and he begins to lament the time that he has lost and the time that has been missed. And he looks at Lilo and says, I am sorry. Please take your dulcimer. I give thanks for what you gave me, and I ask your forgiveness for what I tried to take from you. I will take Edward happily and return to my life. I will not darken your village ever again. And Lilo says, Dear Hugo, take heart and be kind to yourself. You may return in time. The spell of the wild had gotten its grip upon you. It is only meant for troll kind to know, to speak, and to sing. Your mind could not handle it, but now you are free from that spell. You are welcome to return and bring young Edward with you. He has made quite a few friends. And Edward turns and looks at that troll woman and holds out his hands like he wants to be held by her. And she comes over and gives him a kiss and tells Hugo that Edward has been a delight and that he couldn't ask for a better baby. And as the camera begins to pan backwards, you see all of the joyful song and music and dancing around the Kali Lake as the solstice changes over from spring into summer.
Could Dagmar ask Lilu something?
Yes.
Might a human find a home here one day?
She says, in times past, it was welcome for humans to be here. But since the change, humans do not come here, and we have grown distrustful, for they rip up the earth and burn down the woods. But there are still good humans, and you can see me for who I am. You would be very welcome here.
Thank you. It's not today, but perhaps one day.
You will be welcome whenever you choose to come. Agnes von Kaiserling quickly recovers once she gets her son back. The family leaves Arensberg and moves back to Uppsala. Edward grows up, tall for his age and stronger than other children after having eaten troll food as a baby. Hugo resumes his academic career as a lecturer at the Department of Social and Economic Geography. He buys many different string instruments and keeps playing music, but there is often sadness in his eyes as he tries to recreate the songs from Kali. But every time he begins to hear the starting refrain of that song, he stops. He keeps his promise. The trolls around Kali village continue to live side by side with the people of Osel, as they have for thousands of years, albeit hidden. And upon your return to headquarters, you are awarded experience points. So let's go over experience.
Woo.
So, in the game, there's a questionnaire, and depending on your answers, you get that many experience points. And especially since some of you are playing your own characters that will advance, let's answer these questions, and I can never find it when I need it. Oh, here it is. So, did you participate in the session? Yeah, you get 1 experience point. Did you confront any Vaesen? Yeah, the trolls. Did you identify a previously unknown Vaesen? Yes, you did. Were you affected by your dark secret? Now, some of you were. I will leave that up to you to decide if your dark secret came into play. Did you take risks to protect other people? Yeah, you fought off Father Cornelius. Have you learned anything? I think so. And did you perform an extraordinary action? Did anyone do anything extraordinary? I don't know if there was anything, risking your life for someone. But I think we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 experience points plus 1 if you were affected by your dark secret, which I know Dagmar and Astrid and I think Lord Montgomery from the confrontation with Father Cornelius. Let's see. What about Helena? No. Nope. So if you have those, you can use experience points to boost skills, and you can spend. Where is it? You can spend 5 experience points to buy an advancement. That means you can increase the value of a skill by 1 step, or you can buy a new talent. You can never have more than a 5 in a skill, but there's no limit to how many talents you can purchase. And you are also free to choose any talent you want, including those pertaining to other archetypes. So, for those that are continuing on with their characters, Dagmar and Lord Montgomery, would you want to increase a skill? It would cost you 5 XP. If you do, you can make that change on your character sheet, and then I will save these characters for next time. And especially if you want to use these in the Lost Mountain Saga, they will have a little boost. Or you can stockpile your experience points and spend them at another time.
I was wondering if I could look up talents and just see if there's anything
Yeah.
I think would particularly suit Dagmar. So if we could maybe do that.
Yep, just let me know. You can either just message me and I can come on and make the change at any time, or just whenever you
Right.
start the thing. If you just make sure that you note how many experience points she has, and then when we start Lost Mountain Saga, you can say, hey, can I buy this talent, or what have you. And
Yeah,
then
okay.
If Miss Pick or Luke or Alex, if you had interest in playing Lost Mountain Saga, I know Tina and Henrik have said that they do, you can carry these experience points over with you. If you end up playing in Lost Mountain Saga, I'll let you carry these over because you paid for them, so you might as well get to use them. So even if you run a different character, it's just kind of previous experience. So, any questions before we sign off for the night?
Was the priest up to anything, or was he just being horrible?
He was just a total Richard. He was just a bad dude. He was haughty. He was arrogant. But he is the red herring. He's trying to get you away from the straightforwardness that the baby's a troll changeling. So had you gone to meet Agnes, she would have kind of set you straight and said he's not always like that, but he's like that around Hugo because Hugo has rebuffed him and made it difficult. So the priest, he's an okay guy. He's just kind of a misogynist and kind of a real turd. So.
Yeah. I'm glad I kicked him in the shins.
Right? You need to aim a little higher, though. Would have been good. So I think that was my favorite scene, was fighting with Father Cornelius. I think that was awesome.
Yeah, go us.
Excellent. Any last questions or things you're dying to know about the scenario? All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I will post the video for this tonight, and then I'm not sure when I'm going to run Lost Mountain Saga. Tina, I'm kind of building it around you, so whenever your availability is. I think you said maybe in September, October, November is a little better for you.
I think I'm good now if we go with this time, so
Okay.
Whatever suits you at this point.
I know I'm going to be starting a One Ring campaign on, it would be my Friday nights, it would be your Saturday nights. If we did some Saturdays, it would be Sunday mornings for you. Would that work?
Yep.
Okay.
Be fine.
I will see if maybe in July I'll look to start the Lost Mountain Saga maybe on Saturdays. And I don't know how many sessions. I'm thinking between 6 and 10. It may go longer, but I think that's probably a ballpark. I think there's 5 adventures, and some of them are a little shorter, but some might take 2 sessions. So I would guess 6 to 10 sessions on that. And I know I've had a few people express interest. Craig has. I don't know how serious he is, but I know he's expressed interest. And Alex, I'd love to have you if you want to do Lost Mountain Saga and do a campaign.
Yes,
And
I'm down.
I know Luke and Henrik and Miss Pick have expressed interest, so we pretty much got a group. So I just need to find a time, and we will make it happen. So
Cool.
excellent.